Hello, my little experiments. It is I, Commander Xarkira of the Valkyrian Empire, and I am here, I suppose, to take you on some sort of adventure or journey as part of this... Fuck this armor. This has been broken the whole time.
Holy shit!
Welcome! Holy crap!
You look amazing!
Wow.
Thank you, my friends. We will get to everyone's costumes for this special Halloween episode of High Rollers. And indeed, some of us, I know for a fact, are some Aerosian characters, and I am indeed Xarkira, Commander Xarkira with broken shoulder pads. I was really
so intimidated.
Pretty happy to wear them. Are you intimidated? What could you possibly be intimidated by, Chris Trott?
Your
I have no idea.
Huge personality.
Yeah, my personality is very huge.
Massive eyes.
Hopefully we won't break any Twitch terms of service, but you never know. Joining me, and I've not seen anybody else's costume, so I'm very excited to see them.
A surprise for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Do we want to do one at a time?
I think we should,
I think
yes.
So.
We should definitely do one at a
as
time.
Xarkira, you get to choose.
Well, I suppose I've already got a somewhat passing acquaintance with this individual, having captured them and imprisoned them aboard my flagship. But I would like to see what Thomas Hazel has come as.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Pathetic warrior of light. The Omega weapon is under my control.
Oh my God!
Lahabrea! He's like, who the fuck is this guy?
You know what? It still rings a bell. It rings a bell.
Bad guy.
Oh,
It's amazing.
Thomas.
Look at that. Very impressive.
This is the most effort
Well
Tom's ever put into Halloween. And
I love
it's
it.
fantastic.
His
it's
red
great.
mask
The
has been
glow up.
upgraded.
The red mask. Yeah, that was a custom thing. I had to make this mask. So
He made
there you
it.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
That's
very
very
impressive.
Wow.
Baby.
Good
Damn,
job.
Asian.
Clap, clap.
What other secrets are you
Foolish
hiding?
Asian.
How very glib.
How very glib.
How very glib.
Excellent.
Amazing.
We won't speak later.
We won't. Well, thank you, Lahabrea. And good to have another villain in the party this
Indeed.
evening. Me and Tom are going to be representing the villainous half, and maybe there will be some other villains. I actually don't know. Oh, maybe Kim. Maybe.
Maybe
Ooh.
Kim. Maybe we
In
should
which
see
case-
what Kim is dressed as.
Well,
yeah,
you
before we get to the
pick
really good
Lahabrea.
stuff.
I feel like you should pick Lahabrea.
Okay.
I choose
Whilst
you,
I am adjusting
warrior of
myself.
light. Kim, damn you!
3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Oh,
shit! You look so good!
I am Princess Azula of the Fire Kingdom. Peasants.
Hell yeah.
Oh
That,
my
I was not
god!
expecting it, but that is awesome, dude. Like,
So
it
good.
looks
This
so good.
is-
So good.
My backup costume made courtesy of my best friend Becky
What's a
Pepperdine.
backup?
Shout out to her. Check out Pepperdine Creations. She
Nice.
made this in like 5 days because my original
Amazing.
costume is in America somewhere. And so yeah, it's my backup. And yeah, I thought I'd be a little bit of a Princess Azula because she's amazing.
Incredible.
She is amazing. Look at this. We got 3 villains. 3 out of 6 are villains. This is
3
amazing.
Yeah. Hell
villains.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I was not expecting that. That's awesome. So cool.
Did you think it was going to be hot garbage after all the messages I sent?
I thought it was going to be Aerois. I was like, is she going to make an Aerois NPC last minute? Is it going to be like Final Fantasy? I was not expecting Azula. There we go.
Epic.
Cool.
You can go
As
find
well.
your brother and
So cool.
become Empress of the Fire Nation. Yeah, Ponum.
Kick his ass.
Well, Azula,
Flameo,
in your
Hotman.
madness, you get to pick someone else. Yeah, Flameo, Hotman.
Okay, well, where should we go next? I would like to see another strong woman, and I'm going to throw to Katie.
Okay. All right. 3,
Dun, 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 dun,
Two.
dun, dun.
1. Da-da-da-da!
Ah, looks amazing.
We got a main character.
I know,
finally.
it's so
I'm
good.
I came as myself. This is just weekend wear. Also,
Same, big
also
same.
my backup costume, by the way, because mine is in America. No, wait, no, it's in China. I didn't get it from
Somewhere.
China, but it
It's on
didn't
a ship
come
somewhere.
So, this was made by the very awesome Chaotic Anir. They cosplayed Aila. Oh God, like a few years ago. What, a couple of years ago now, and it was like this is a mixture of old Aila outfit with new Aila hair and makeup because she ain't got abs. She's not going to show them. So,
No, it's great.
But it's
It's
fun,
amazing.
Though. It was fun to do makeup. Wasn't it?
So good.
Yeah, the makeup looks incredible.
Your makeup
So
is
a lot of black
amazing.
eyeshadow.
That's a lot of black.
A lot. I mean, I think it's a casual everyday look, though, right?
Oh yeah,
Like-
absolutely.
I could
Hey,
just
say the
pop over
thing.
to Tesco.
Say the thing.
I'm a delight.
Yeah, nice.
Yay!
Well,
say the thing.
foolish barbarian. I suppose I will allow you to choose who else to see, but soon you will
Nice.
die at my hand eventually.
I think I want to see what Rhiannon's up to. I think she mentioned teeths, and I want to see what them teeths are.
I heard
see what
fur.
it is.
There's teeth and fur, so I'm very interested to
Oh.
see.
But I just want to say, I don't know why I'm last. I'm not anything special.
No, you're last now, Chris Trott.
Okay, this is going to be great. Okay, you ready, Ree?
All right.
3, 2, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That I was not expecting.
Can you guess?
Hello.
Oh,
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
Kamara.
It's Kamara.
Oh my god, I thought that was a filter.
I honestly
it's
thought
on
It
there.
does
was
look like a
Snapchat
filter.
That's on there.
Incredible.
That's
How?
did
amazing.
you paint that on?
Yeah.
The context as well.
How long did that take?
I started at like 1.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god!
I like the
That's a
little
long
lisp.
time.
Right.
Little cute lisp. I started at 1.
Oh, it's got the
Oh.
tail and everything. Amazing.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
think I should
God.
stand up in mine just in case. But yeah, amazing. God,
Yeah.
I was not expecting that makeup.
Thank you.
You do look
Very
like with the
impressive.
light as well. It's like a stand-up Kamara. It's like stand-up furry. I love it. Hey everyone,
Welcome to my
show.
comedy show.
It's
Amazing.
an honor to have you on the Storm Chaser.
You suck.
Well,
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
They look like my hands. They look like someone's put their hands through their cat. Like, they're just like fucking their hand.
brilliant.
Incredible.
Absolutely amazing. Well, it's
I
up
would
to
like to
you,
see.
Foolish. Yeah, go on.
I'd like to see what Chris Trott is dressed like, and also my contact lens
Wait,
is
hang
spun
on.
around.
Yeah, your
so-
contact lens is rotating.
That's terrifying.
around in my eye,
Holy
mate.
shit.
Oh my
What is going
god.
on?
Oh,
Brilliant.
that's so weird.
Oh my god.
Don't look at my eyes.
Look at my eyes. I'm very sensitive
That's
about
really
my
scary.
eyes.
Like you're trying to hypnotize us by spinning them.
What?
Okay.
All right, drop.
Before this gets weirder,
I'll count myself in.
I want to see what Chris
Count
Trott is
yourself
dressed
in,
like.
Chris Trott.
Okay.
Mhm.
3, 2, 1. Oh yeah!
Oh, yes! I knew he was going to be a wrestler.
I fucking called it was Macho Man as well. Oh yeah, brother. That is amazing. Come on, you said you said it wasn't anything special. That's amazing.
Well, I bought it all, so that's why.
I bought all of this except
off balance doesn't matter.
natural 20, natural 1 doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Fucking
There you go.
amazing.
Macho
oh my
Man.
god.
Macho Man. Randy
Incredible.
Savage.
All right, and
Why
this
did
is-
you Hulk Hogan. Oh wait.
Yeah, let's not go
everybody.
into that.
Oh, I mean, I've already
Amazing.
had to remove some of this because it is slipping around like crazy.
Oh, my tassels are caught in the wheels of my chair.
Yeah, I'm having that problem with my dress as well. It's a real problem.
Yeah, we're
Amazing.
all
I-
going to be very stationary, I think, this episode.
Yeah,
Just
I
I
like,
can't really
God.
move too
don't
much.
fall.
Yeah.
I can move, but I shouldn't. Twitch will get very upset with me if I move too much.
I should.
They
They're
are,
so
they are
jiggly.
they're very bouncy.
Wow.
And yeah, if you for folks, I'm gonna do a little. Well, actually, I would have done it by the time. So just so folks know, actually, that's a good point. So folks know this is actually pre-recorded because Rhiannon is going to be going away at the weekend, and we wanted to get everybody together. We wanted everyone to have an opportunity to do the dress up for Halloween. So this is pre-recorded. So there won't be donations read at the end of the stream or in the break or anything like that. But what we're going to do is, it does mean that some of us might be in chat. So we might actually be in chat while you're watching this, and we'll chat to you, and we'll thank you in chat if you do donate.
Yes,
or if
thank you
sub, we'll
in
post a little
advance.
thank you message. Yeah.
It is a regular
you in chat.
episode.
Hey,
Hey, me. It's a regular episode. Donations will be read
Hi, Nightjar.
in the middle of next episode. For this stream.
Correct.
Yeah. We'll read them next episode for sure.
So we've got that, and yeah, also these what I'm wearing will come out in another costume I've got. I actually got 2 Halloween costumes.
Wait, they're coming out?
Yeah,
Of
no,
that
they're not
costume?
coming out. They're not coming out. They easily could. So I'm not moving too much. But yeah, I'm going to be doing another. It would have already happened, but I did another stream, and for these guys, they might get a little preview of my actual Halloween costume as well,
Oh my!
which I posted. I mean, they're involved. I spent a lot of money on these. They're getting used as often as I can. So
yeah, for sure.
I said exactly that when we were waiting for you to turn up. I was like, look, he spent a lot of money on that breastplate. He's gonna use it anytime he can.
I love the idea of calling it a breastplate, like it's armor as well. It's just like, but that's literally what it is. But yes,
my balls.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tom's going to be wearing that mask and that outfit for weeks, I think. Like every time we do a Final Fantasy raid, you better be wearing
Doesn't look so cool with these glasses underneath. I kind of need sunglasses because otherwise,
Amazing. Well, I honestly, can I just say, I am so impressed by everybody this year. We have had a couple of years where some people skimp out a little bit.
Hey,
everybody's done a bang up job this year. I love it. This is my favorite stream of the year. I love doing the Halloween streams, and I'm very excited we got to have everybody. Speaking of, we've got. Well, let's get into playing some D&D. First things first. Chris Trott, would you like to tell us about this week's sponsors?
I certainly would, and you know who it is. Everybody, come on, let's all just click that link now, and you can read along with me. It's D&D Beyond, and now I mentioned last week that there was a pre-order for Fizzband's Treasury of Dragons. It's now released, so go get it. If you get it on D&D Beyond, of course, you get all the bonus digital accessories for your character sheets. So you get those extra frames, and you get the dice, which are really cool because they're dragon eggs. So please go check it out. Also, I noticed that they also made an article with extra stuff that D&D Beyond people made up. So if you want an extra accessory to your Treasury of Dragons, more dragons. So go check that out too. They do really good articles, as well as this amazing tool set which you use on a weekly basis on High Rollers.
But Trott, I don't want to type in a whole URL into my search bar. Is there an easy way for me to go to D&D Beyond right now from this stream?
There certainly is, Mark, and that would definitely be in the chat, or if you're watching this on the VOD, it's in the description. I'm glad you asked. If you click that link, it also supports High Rollers to know that they came from us.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you, D&D Beyond. Thank you for always supporting us, despite whatever ridiculous costumes we wear every year. We appreciate you coming back and supporting us with that as well.
Remember Bowsette? They supported that.
Yeah, they absolutely. Look, Bowsette was the first in a wonderful tradition that will never stop. So, come on.
I will never
She's
forget
an icon.
coming.
She's a queen.
Honestly, I'll never forget coming to the office, walking down a corridor, looking through the glass on a door, and Mark turns in a computer chair, deadpan, with a full face of makeup, like, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was when I got Nina to do it, which is why my makeup was good back then, as opposed to now where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, it's really good.
It looks really good.
No, come on.
You're improving every time you do it. Every time you do it, you're getting.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things, Katie, do you want to talk about cool pin badges?
I can talk about them. They are released.
Kim shows
has
them off.
Kim has them. Katie,
but
talk.
As of the time that you are seeing this, which will be after 4 p.m., these will be on the store. We've got new pin badges out. We've got Thalia and a DM pin on the store. So again, as always, these will be limited edition. So once they're gone, they're gone. But look how cute that is. A little DM for the DM in your life if you want to get a little gift. And obviously the wonderful Thalia.
Wonderful Thalia as well. Snack form Thalia.
Snack form.
Interesting design thing on the DM's pin badge. Me and Nina were talking about it, and I specifically wanted it to be a DM that could be anybody. So it's not specifically me. That's why it's kind of got like the grey skin and just like a shadow over the face.
Yeah.
Because who knows who your DM is, you know? So
It'll fit
think
anyone.
of that.
Yeah,
It'll fit anyone.
mysterious.
Mysterious DM.
So
yeah,
grab
they are
those.
available now.
Yes, and we've got some more very exciting merch coming very soon as well. So keep your eyes on our Twitter and things like that for when that stuff comes out. Kim,
One other thing about merch is that creator codes will be disappearing as of the 1st. So as of seeing this, you got a day, but the code will no longer be valid after that, because basically there's sites out there like Honey and stuff that basically just takes any code and puts it in the system and to give you money off and doesn't necessarily let you pick. So we're going to be still doing codes and promotions, but we'll just be doing like different time periods, different codes type thing. So it's not the end of codes altogether.
Different
It's
offers.
just a heads up for now. Yeah.
Yes,
For sure.
perfect. Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about your Halloween adventure that you just released on Patreon as well?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go for
So
it.
I'm very proud to announce the launch of an adventure that I've spent months writing, and that is Mists and Shadows. And
Look
it
at
is
that.
a horror one-shot adventure. And my husband very kindly printed it out for me and abused his workplace and did it. As you can see, look, it's a beautiful adventure. Look at it.
Properly formatted.
I know. Good, so good. Basically, it is a labor of love. Look, I just wanted to get the other bit of art up there. It is based in Malaysian culture and folklore. It is about hantu, which is the Malaysian word for ghost. So creatures like the Pontianak, the Polong, the Pelisit, loads of Malaysian ghosts and folklore, and also set in the Malaysian rainforest and the kampong. It is a labor of love. I have spent months researching this. I was actually working with my mum. Did you know that Malaysians have their own elves? We have elves, and they're called Orang Bunyan, and they're responsible people who go missing in rainforests. That's a legit thing in Malaysian folklore.
That's cool.
That's so interesting.
So yeah, this is available now on my Patreon for free. We'll put the link somewhere in the video description. It's free. 100% free. So go and download it there now. And yeah, you can find all the details. Lots of people who helped me with this, who helped with the layout, the illustration. My mom just teaching me, like, apparently we have Bomo in our family. Bomo, again, the Malaysian word for shamans. We employ shamans in my family, so don't piss me off.
That's cool as fuck.
Oh, damn.
But yes, please do go and check it out. Not only is it a kind of spooky Malaysian horror adventure, but there's a lot in here about Malaysian folklore and culture, architecture, arts, the art of shadow puppetry, all of that. So yes, I love this. This is my heart. This is my soul. Please go check it out. Free.
What more could you ask for?
Free.
Come
Heart
on.
and soul for free.
Let's crash
Perfect for
Patreon.
Heart and
Spooky
soul for
season.
free.
Perfect for
Yeah.
Halloween.
And so
Satan would have a field day
It looks
with you.
so
Go and pick
good.
that. Go pick that up on Patreon. Support Kim on Patreon. Hey, you can also, if you'd like to, support High Rollers on Patreon. And the Patreon is, if you would like to support High Rollers in doing things like maybe getting our own studio one day, upgrading our equipment, doing super cool projects, the Patreon is 100% the best way to support us doing that.
Wouldn't that be something?
The more we get.
Wouldn't
it
that
be
be
something?
something?
Wouldn't it
Why be
something?
vague about it? Why not just say the Patreon is
No.
about to get very important?
Let's just say that. Let's save it for, like, you know, we've only just got everything sorted. Let's wait. I want to make a proper announcement for that. But
No,
yes. Yes.
no.
This is a classic.
Mute
This is a
him.
classic.
Mute him.
A
Mute
classic
him.
Tom
Patreon's
Hazel
important.
spilling beans.
Patreon is very important. Supporting us there lets us do really cool stuff. And
It's always been
like Tom
important.
said, it's always been important. But in the future, Patreon, very good. Some good soup coming for Patreon.
That'd be important.
Patreon. Also, don't forget, if you've got Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch Prime sub. Hey, why not potentially use it for us? You know, why not? Just saying, we could use it on us and see our beautiful. Look at these beautiful faces that you could see every week. Bonesaw is ready.
It's ready.
And yeah, do that. That's it for the announcements, as far as I'm concerned. Unless anybody else has anything. Tom, shut up! Don't you say a damn word.
What?
He was putting on his
You never
villain
know.
mask.
You never know what he's gonna do.
Put my mask
Well,
on. Hey,
that's fine.
rate us on iTunes.
There you go. All right.
Also,
Thanks.
for those watching on Twitch, the break will, of course, be pre-recorded, so we're going to show the wonderful fan art. And for those on YouTube, you're going to get something different. So that's just a little heads up there.
A Manscaped Dad.
Yeah. Get an ad.
Wow, how exciting for them, Tom. You're the worst. You're literally the worst.
Dad. You're getting a Manscaped Dad.
He's just
being open
truthful
about it. No lies from me.
No lies. Book of
Yeah.
secrets and lies.
Right. Whilst we're under the control of Xarkira, could you please lead us into this episode?
Well, are you going to play the Dun-Duns or?
You give control of that.
Oh, no, thank you, yes. Well, I suppose that is enough of your frivolous tomfoolery here on Earth.
That's my name.
So we are going to play a small video to prepare you for the upcoming Valkyrian invasion, and then my rule will fully begin. Bah. Last time on High Rollers, seeking to save the life of their friend Thalia from a Feywild curse placed upon them by a sorceress she once wronged, the party have found the means to transport themselves to the plane of Lunaria, aka the Feywild, and traverse the Twilight Nebula's strange effect on transportation magics. The key to this planar travel? The Centaur Rosemeadow, whom the party met when their adventures first only just begun. A kindly soul who had no memory of her past or how she came to Aerois. With Rosemeadow, Thalia, the harpy Kyrie, and their companion Big Cat, the party and friends found themselves in a strange blue and lilac wood that stretched out for miles and miles. Seeking somewhere to get their bearings, they came upon a group of knights and folk at arms battling a much larger and more dangerous Manticore. Leaping to their aid, the party quickly realized how deadly a foe this could be before Sentry turned the creature and caused it to flee, buying them precious minutes to talk and prepare. Now, the Manticore is about to return, and the party have elected to stand and fight alongside the Knights of the Splendid Panoply, led by the avian knight Lady Penelope El Pavo Real. And that is where we are going to kick off this session after my absolute garbled intro of trying to get through that there.
Penelope of Panoply.
The Knights of the Splendid Panoply, led by the avian knight Lady Penelope.
My God.
Lady Penelope of the Knights of the Splendid Panoply. I did that to myself. I did it to myself.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Because I thought it was cool. I know.
It's cool.
I literally played myself. Okay, so we've got pretty much everybody else. Katie wasn't here last week, so Katie, if you have any questions, now would probably be a very good time to ask me or your fellow party members, because when we kickstart, I am going to be jumping in back with a brand new round of initiative, resuming the same initiatives that we had before, just to make things easy.
Just tell me who to hit and who not to hit, and we all good.
Hit the Manticore.
Hit the big, scary Manticore.
Okay, no one else.
Pineapple
We're good with everyone else.
Yeah.
There is
so your allies in this fight, you have a lady knight she has like peacock feathers instead of hair, and she wears like all purple and green. She has like a kind of hooked nose, very sort of like avian in appearance, but more humanoid than say Quill is. You also have, there is a Harangon, which is a rabbit person, but not like Sana is a rabbit person. This is like a Peter Rabbit wearing a little suit of armor with a short bow kind of thing. It's that kind of anthropomorphic rabbit person. And alongside them, they have a group of knights, avian knights, so kind of like all sort of bird-like humanoids, like Lady Penelope. And you also have Fey folk at arms, which are basically all sorts of different Fey races, satyrs, goblins, pixies, all with archering equipment. And they're going to assist you in this fight. Thalia and all your NPCs are further back, and they're all safe. And that's pretty much it.
To make it really clear,
yes,
we got dumped in the middle of a Fey wood, which is super vast, and we're just trying to get our way to the right place.
You're trying to get your bearings.
And
yeah,
we
you're
stumbled
trying to
across
figure
these
out where
people
you are.
just fighting a Manticore, and we're like, we should help.
Yes,
that's it.
Basically.
Sounds like us. So, classic us.
Just trying
Also,
to make our way home.
Yeah.
Ayla, we sent you to go dump the Summer Eladrin.
Yes, they did do
You
that. They
dumped
made
them.
you go and tell the
Yeah.
Summer Eladrin that they weren't taking them. Which I thought, Aila would just be like, yeah, you're not
She would
coming,
do that.
bye. Yeah, so
You're not coming, suck it up.
that's basically how I played
Pretty
it.
much.
That's
Deals
pretty
off.
much how I played it. Okay, well, in that case, you are all gathered. You have spent a few precious moments healing, preparing things. All of the archers, led by Radovan, who is the Harangon, have taken position behind trees. They are attempting to hide. You're not sure how effective they're going to be, but you immediately begin to hear the beating of thick, heavy, leathery wings, and a kind of strangely humanoid roar seems to come from above. And on great wings comes this Manticore flying down. And unlike before, kind of sensing, it can see that there is this kind of group of armored knights, all with long spears. It can see all of you. It is choosing to stay aloft at the moment. It is staying about 60 feet above the ground. So it's actually flying over the sort of like in the kind of these trees all around you are so massively tall. It is kind of in the clearing, but hovering up in the air. All the branches around it having been broken clear from its previous escape. So it's kind of hovering up in the air at the moment. You guys kind of knew this thing was coming, but it also kind of knew you were here. So we're not going to do any surprise rounds or anything like that. This is just going to be basically rolling straight back into the combat. And annoyingly, it is the Manticore's turn to go first with 23 initiative. And as it kind of flies into range, you hear just this like, "Rah, I will not be vanquished. I will not be frightened by some metal woman. Rah, time to feed." And then it flaps down and it brings up its tail with all these kind of like heavy looking spines that you can see growing out of it. These kind of thick javelin-like spines. And it is going to use its move 1,000 needles to spray a 60-foot cone.
What?
Yeah, which is going to hit all of you, and it's also going to hit the knights as well.
Am I raging, sir? Ma'am?
You were, but it would have run out unless. How long does your rage?
It's relentless rage. Unless I choose to end it, I can
then you're
be
raging.
angry for always.
Yeah, then you're raging. You're still raging. So you're currently raging. I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay.
Okay.
I also just realized I need some dice, actually, because I don't have stats for the knights and things.
Not great.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good. It's not bad.
Great rolls,
roll.
everybody.
It's not bad.
19.
It's
I
not
rolled a
great.
6 plus 3, which equals
5.
9.
24.
Okay.
Right, nice.
Oh.
So
I'm
just
very
to
good
save-
at these things, though. So
Yes, Aila is very good at reacting and dodging and stuff like that. To make things easier for me, who got above a 17 or above?
Ayla.
Just Aila. Perfect. That's great. You see the knights all get like a bunch of the knights. There's about 7 of these armored knights, and unexpecting this barrage, the Manticore flicks its tail and it just constantly keeps like flicking it backwards and forward and just spraying these spines over a wide area, catching all of you and the knights in it. Many of the knights kind of manage to raise up their shields. They do manage to kind of deflect some of the spines, but they are going to take half damage still. All of you, each creature that fails the saving throw is hit by 1d4 plus 1 tail spines. So, Sentry, you are hit by 2 tail spines. Remember that for me. Quill, you are hit by 5 of these spines.
5?
Mhm.
Oh, no.
so what was the bard? Damn it!
Nova,
last time it
4
wasn't.
tail spines.
4
And
for
Lucius, another 5 tail spines for Lucius.
Yeah.
God.
Now, unlike the normal spines, these ones just do straight damage. They're kind of like cutting your arms because he's not aiming them. He's just kind of spraying them wildly. They don't embed into your body. Instead, these just kind of tear at your like limbs and they tear at your legs and things like that. But they do increased damage.
Do.
So something maybe to mention to Katie is the last time they fought this Manticore, when it fires its spines, they actually embed into you and they give you penalties. They slow you down. All of that kind of stuff. So we'll do Sentry first.
Now, right?
You were hit by 2 spines, yes, Sentry?
Yeah.
So you get 4d8 of piercing damage.
What?
14.
That's 2.
I just rolled 2 7 and 2 8s. So that's going to be 16. That's 30 points of damage to Sentry.
Okay.
You
For
could
2.
have double that. More than double that.
Quill, how many did you get hit by?
5. Mark.
5. That's 10d8.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god.
20,
Cool, you're
21.
dead.
No, you're not. You're high level. now.
Everyone should be on max health.
But yeah, I think everyone
Yes.
is 33, 6, 41. Oh, perfect. 60 points of damage, complete.
I
So
mean,
you
what
are
would
just-
I have to roll for concentration?
DC
plus?
30. DC 30.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just lose both of those spells. Okay.
No, you'd only lose one because you've only taken damage from one. Like you'd lose one first, and then you'd keep the other one because you've got Elder Quill out, right?
Yeah, no, it says on the Spear of Oracles that when I make a concentration check, I also
It fails
for the other
both.
one too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Lol.
I mean, I can't pass it, but I would do 2 independent
Sucks to be you.
checks. Yep.
Nova, how many were you hit by? 4.
Fur.
Or
This
88.
is over a minute since it ran away, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Okay. That's 13. 21, 24. 33. 43 points of piercing damage. And then Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Lucius
Sky's the
Elasto.
limit.
10d8. 13.
Let's go 80.
22. 33. Oof. 49. I rolled 16 there. And then 55. 62 points of piercing damage.
Ugh.
You do know that the tail on its the kind of on the Manticore, it doesn't, like, all of those spines, all of its spines are gone. Like, it completely eradicates all of its spines.
That's a big ass move.
The knights, however, like most of the knights, are not on the floor like dying, but you can see they're critically injured, being completely blasted by these spines. They're all quite low on hit points, but they still are up and ready to fight. But another attack like that will probably finish them off. But that is the end of that's the Manticore's one action it can do this turn. And so we go to Nova Vija.
Hi. Owie, owie, owie. I would like to... So it's 60 feet above us, right?
It is currently flying about 60 feet. Yeah, it was just in range of its cone, basically. It positioned itself so it's 60 feet away from you guys, so it could spray you with its cone.
I am going to attempt to cast Slow on it.
Okay.
So could you make me a Wisdom saving throw DC 18?
Sure can. I can actually roll this one from the stat block this time. Oh, natural 20 plus 3, 23.
Okay. So I
The third one this thing has had, by the way.
That's D&D Beyond, baby. D&D Beyond loves me.
Baby!
Baby!
I don't think anything happens on a save. And
Don't think so for slow.
Don't.
Would you like to move?
Bonus action.
Bonus action. Right now, I had you all grouped up because basically you were all healing.
We're all grouped up.
Yeah, I figured you
Yeah,
were
we
grouped
were.
up to heal.
I will split apart, so I've got 30 foot of movement, so I will move 30 foot away from the bulk of the group.
If you move 30
and
feet
just-
away, I'm assuming you are moving so that a cone attack won't be able to hit you. If it targets the rest of the group, then it has to pick targets, basically.
That's the
Okay.
idea, yeah.
All right. End of turn?
Sadly, yes. I got nothing after that.
Okay, so we've got Aila next, and then Quill, and then Sentry, then Lucius. So start planning your rounds out. So Aila, this thing is like 60 feet up in the air, unfortunately, but there are trees all around you. This is like a big open wooded clearing.
Okay, so question. I don't know if I cleared my charges on my hammer at the end. Did you use charges on my hammer?
I didn't use any charges on your hammer.
Then I have charges. So I would like to... can I get a boost onto a tree to get maybe 10 feet of movement up and then use a charge to fly? You activate fly on my hammer to fly the remaining 50 feet and hit it in the face.
Yeah, just remember with that fly, you don't keep flying. At the end of your turn, you either fall
it says
or you
that
can keep
I gain a flying speed until the end of my next turn.
Next turn, that's it. Okay, yeah.
So
that's fine.
I've got a little bit just now, and then I can land.
And then you can fly down. Cool. Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not even going to make you make a check because Aila is ridiculously strong, and I think that you could just like literally run up a tree 10 feet. I think that's in Aila's wheelhouse. That you just basically do a cool parkour, run up the tree 10 feet, and then use the hammer to fly the rest of the distance. Yeah, I think that.
I don't feel like it'll be nearly as graceful though. It's all stomping.
No. It's like she's like kicking the tree and embedding her boots into the tree to walk up it, almost like, and then
hitting the air so hard it makes a platform.
Yeah.
I rolled a 32 to hit.
32 will hit this thing. Yes. Yep.
Yay. Okay, so that is going to be 24, 25, 26, 27 damage from the first hit.
7 points of damage. Bam.
And and my other d6. I forget about my other d6. Haha. 4 lightning damage. And then the next one, I rolled full damage. Holy shit. That is a 10 plus...
I'm assuming you rolled to hit on the second attack.
I didn't. No, you're right.
That's right. It's been a while.
Okay. That's a 14 plus 14, 28 to hit.
It does hit. Yep.
I'll roll that again for.
If you roll less than a 5, let me know. Otherwise, assume you hit.
Oh! I mean, I thought you meant I went down. Yeah.
No.
So I get 30, 40, 50, 16 damage of the hammer and an additional 5 lightning damage, and then my aura, which is.
Yep. I'll make a dex save. Fails its dex save.
19 lightning damage.
19 points of lightning damage. Several blows. I mean, this creature, from flying back in, although it did this brutal kind of tail spine attack, Aila leaps up into the air and you hear bones crack from the hammer swings, and it roars in pain, kind of howling in agony as you do. But you aren't still like, the hammer is kind of holding you aloft in the air for now, Aila. End of turn?
Feels good to be back. Yeah, I'm good. I'm done.
All right, Quill, then Sentry.
Cool. Well, I'm going to try and offset this million D8 of damage that they just did with my Mass Cure Wounds, which I'm going to cast at level 7.
Okay.
Because I
What's
love
the range of Mass Cure Wounds?
Slots, baby. 60. So if I move
so
a
you can still
little bit,
catch.
I'll hit.
Don't worry about me. I'm good. I literally am almost full. So
okay.
Pick someone else that needs it.
I'm going to do 5d8 plus 6 of healing to myself, Lucius, Nova, Sentry, and I guess 2 other people that got hit.
2 of the knights. Yeah, you can pick 2 of the knights for sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 6. That is 33 healing to everybody.
33.
Nice, thank you.
Offsets a little bit.
Pretty good. About halfway.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, Quill?
And that is everything I'll try and stay where I am, a little bit away from the group.
Okay, nice. So like, how far are we moving away from the group? Towards Nova or on the other side?
Kind of in between Nova and the group, so about 15 feet.
So 15 feet? Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Sentry.
Okie dokie. I would like to cast Sunbeam towards the Manticore.
It's Rhiannon's voice coming out of the wolf face. I can't. Sunbeam.
Sunbeam, please.
What kind of saving throw am I making?
So that would be con save, please. 16 to pass.
That's a 24. This thing's hide is incredibly tough. The searing light from the Matrix does kind of project forwards, and it scores the creature's hide, but it does seem very resilient.
Okie dokie, I'll do 68
So half damage.
halved. Bam, 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 bam. Here they come. 28 halved, 14.
So 14 points of damage. And unfortunately, Rhiannon, for you, I've been forgetting about its legendary actions. When a creature misses the Manticore, actually no, misses with a ranged weapon or spell attack, you didn't miss, so that's fine. Cool. So yeah, the Sunbeam charges forward. Anything else on your turn?
Are there any soldiers around me that look pretty bad that I can get to?
You can say, yeah, I'd say, yeah. For narrative purposes, you can easily like move up to 1 for sure.
Can I move up to 1 and give them a potion of healing?
Sure, just a regular standard potion of healing.
A greater healing potion.
A greater healing, yeah, absolutely. I'll say that I'm not going to make you roll because it's an NPC ally, but that's enough to bring them out of a crit. Like they're no longer in danger of like being one shot, basically. So the ones that Quill healed, the one that you've healed. So out of the 7, 3 of them are not in danger of being like one hit KO'd. The rest of them, if they take another big hit, they will basically be killed. Like it will just annihilate them, basically. Okay. You can do that. At the end of your turn, Sentry, I'm going to remember to use a fucking legendary reaction. And I am going to use... oof, that would be pretty brutal. I might use that. Ooh, do I want to use
Flee?
that now?
Is it called Flee?
Yeah.
No. I'm going to use its legendary action, Bestial Vigor, which you can only use once per fight. You watch as its tail spines all grow back. It grows back all of its tail spines, and it lets out like this bestial roar. I need every creature within 60 feet, which is all of you guys, to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh, awesome. Plus 11, baby.
Nat 20!
Natural 1!
This is a fear effect.
20.
So, for example, Sentry, are you immune to fear? I can't remember.
Let me have a double check of that.
I know you're immune to diseases, but I can't remember if like
I don't think I am. No.
I think it may be Oath of Devotion that gets it there.
Oh wait, yes, I am immune to frightened. I am.
Okay. There you go. All right. So this is a fear effect. So this doesn't affect you at all, Sentry. This dreadful roar resounds out. Who got an 18 or lower? Just Aila. Wow. Oh, and Nova. Okay.
I got you lower. I got 16.
18 or lower.
That's lower, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 16 is lower. So Aila and Nova, you're both going to take some psychic damage, and you are going to be frightened of the Manticore for 1 minute. You can repeat this saving throw at the end of your turn.
Oh, please help me! I'm not going to save that.
No, you're not.
Quill.
I don't suppose that's a magical effect, is it?
No, this would technically be just this is like a bestial roar. It's just it's so terrifying. This like things roar, it like spittle and everything comes out of there everywhere.
Okay.
The classic thing of D&D of like, but like a dragon's breath isn't magic. 29 psychic damage to Nova and Aila, and you are both frightened for 1 minute. It can only do that once. It also gains some temporary hit points. Huzzah!
Oh my god, there was so much in there. And it's got its spines back.
And it's got its spines back, yeah.
The scariest bit.
Lucius.
Lucius is going to do a wisdom save throw right back at this Manticore as he's going to cast Slow on it.
Okay, yep. So follow up with like what Nova did earlier. That's a natural 1. So 4 total.
Oh,
nice.
So you watch as the Manticore, its movement slow down. Now I will say slow doesn't stop legendary reactions, but it does stop it making multiple attacks on its turn.
It also gets -2 to AC and Dex saving throws. Mm-hmm. And it can't. Oh yeah, you got your legendary stuff there.
Yeah, it can't take reactions though, right? It can. It
can't use reactions. Yeah, and on its turn, it can either use an action or a bonus action. And I assume a legendary action to. Legendary
actions aren't on its turn, so it doesn't get those don't get affected, unfortunately. But yeah,
nice.
Cool. So you watch, Lucius kind of weaves his magic, and you watch as the whole Manticore just kind of, and its claws come out in a slow swipe.
And I'll just shout, "Now's the time to strike, while it's slowed."
Okay. Anything else, Lucius?
I'm going to back off, I think. So I'm going to hide near to Sentry. And
okay. Yeah, Sentry's
if
moved
there's
off
a
about
tree
like 20
nearby,
feet.
I'll hide behind the tree.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a good job you do, because this thing sensing you being the source of the magic, like this thing is intelligent enough to realize that you cast a spell on it, and now it's like, I'm slow and I don't know what's going on. It doesn't really know the full extent, but it could see you doing something.
Okay.
It also probably saw, who else did stuff? Oh, Sentry's got the sunbeam as well. So it's going to target the two of you and use a legendary action to tail flick. It makes one tail spike attack against 2 different creatures within range. Lucius, you said you were going to dive behind a tree, right?
Yes, and also if it tries to... All right, that's for spells. Never mind.
Okay, so you'll get a +5 AC bonus because you were hiding behind a 3/4 cover with the tree. So yeah, +5 AC to this. That is going to be a total of 14 to hit you, Lucius.
Nope.
And then Sentry... It's a 24 to hit, Sentry.
Yeah.
So you are going to take another 15 points of piercing damage, and again, you're impaled by one of these spines. So that's a -2 penalty to attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks, and your movement speed is reduced.
Oh, it can't make more than 1 melee or ranged attack per turn.
Per turn, yeah.
During its turn, yeah.
Yeah, that's during its turn. This is a legendary action. It's not during its turn.
Hiss.
Mm-hmm. It's using a legendary reaction. So,
yeah.
If there's a rules lawyer out there who's like, "Oh, it's been confirmed by Jeremy,"
we can't even hear you.
Slow also affects legendary actions. I can't even hear it because it's pre-recorded. So,
sorry, bud.
Got him.
Sorry, bud. But yeah, that's going to be it. Oh, actually, yeah, it can. Yeah, I'll do that. And then that's it. Then a bunch of the NPCs are going to go. So Radovan, the Harangon sniper, is going to take a shot with his crossbow. Again, I don't have this, so unfortunately you won't see the rolls. And you gave it -2 AC, didn't you, Lucius?
Yes.
Which actually causes this to hit. It's only 10 points of damage, but that's still 10 points of damage.
Yeah.
So you see Radovan kind of like pops up from behind a tree. He's like, "Now, archers, loose!" And he takes the first shot, and then everybody else is going to follow up with that. The archers themselves are all going to take a shot, and I'm going to use like my mass rules for this. So they're all going to take various shots for a 21 to hit, and this is going to be 3d6 of damage. I can't really turn my neck. I'm like Batman in this. So that's going to be 11 more points of damage as the archers all pop up from behind the trees, launching their arrows in a fusillade. Then we have Lady Penelope on her turn. And Lady Penelope, having seen how much damage, Aila, you did up in the air. Oh, but you're frightened, aren't you?
I'm so scared.
You're so scared. You know what she's probably going to do then? She have anything that can help you with that? She does not. So she's going to be a horrid glory stealer, which is what she does. And she's going to cast haste on herself, which means you see her speed double up. She gets bonus to AC, and she gains an additional action on each turn, which I think could be now. And yeah, she's going to then move. She's going to fly up, and she's going to attack the Manticore with her lance, her speared lance. But unfortunately, that misses. So even with the target slowed, she kind of speeds forward in a burst of like a charging move, but unfortunately does not hit. Her avian knights are all sadly not in range for any of their attacks, so instead they pick up their injured, the 3 that you've healed go and pick up their injured companions, and they start dragging them behind trees to get them into cover. And they basically are just like, "We shall, my lady, defeat the beast, we shall attend to our companions whilst you and our new allies finish it off." And then they're like dragging them away basically. And then we come back up to the top of the round with the Manticore itself. And it's not very happy about being slowed, but it does have a threat immediately beside it. So it is just going to try and bite Aila, as it's one attack it can do. And you are frightened.
Roblox.
Oh, that was nearly a natural 20. That is a 26 to hit Aila, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is going to be It's 18 points of piercing damage, so half to 9 because you're raging. However, as it bites into you, the attack is so fierce, it actually leaves the wound bleeding on you. So whilst this is bleeding, you take 1d8 of damage whenever you take an action or move, and that cannot be reduced. Even your Barbarian Rage doesn't reduce that damage because it's like you bleeding out, basically. It can be removed. Quill kind of figured out how to remove it a little bit. But yeah, he kind of turns around and chomps you quite fiercely. And that is all he can do, I think, because of the slow.
Does that affect the fear?
It does not, I believe. No, it's just, Aila's got to make the save. In fact, I think it would make it worse.
True.
Yeah, I have to roll an 18 or 17 or higher to get out of this.
You might do.
I have a wisdom of +1. Wisdom save is +1.
Do I get a saving throw on the slow, Chris Trott, at the end of my turn?
You can. Oh, that's the wrong spell. Let's have a look. See here.
I believe it. Kim, do you know?
Yes, so wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turn.
Wisdom saving throw 19.
Yeah, that beats it.
All
I've
right.
got 18.
The Manticore starts speeding up once more, having shrugged off whatever spell is affecting it. Nova Vija. It is looking bloodied. I will say this, like, you can see wounds from like all of the attacks, the spells, everything else. This creature definitely looks injured. It is bleeding profusely. It is bloodied, half HP or less.
I would like... Yeah, I think in a panic, because Nova's frightened, she's going to go for a good classic blight. So
you have disadvantage. It's a saving throw, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's not an attack saving throw. It is a saving throw on your part, which is DC Constitution DC 18. It's probably going to pass because I imagine it's quite tanky, but
it's very tough. 21.
Okay, cool. It still takes half damaggio though, which is 41 halved is
20 points of damage.
20, yeah.
21, we round down. So the black kind of like lightning energy that comes out of Tiangong crackles along the Manticore's body, and it definitely still wounds it. You can see that its natural tough physiology does, resist some of the damage, but it's still heavily injured, and it does let out another like, kill you little insects, and it's getting frustrated. You can see that it's kind of
don't kill me.
Yeah, it doesn't know what to do. It is gonna. Are you finished?
I'm gonna try and move further away. Frightened doesn't necessarily.
You can move
mean
away. You can't move closer.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you move
but it's
away.
Not, it's not the one.
No.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's not the one that you
yeah.
have to get away. That's it. No. Yeah. Okay. I will still move away though. But also, do I make a saving throw?
No. Yes, you do. Yes. Each turn. Yes.
What was it? Wisdom again?
Saving throw. Wisdom saving throw.
19.
You just succeed. So you kind of like seeing like Aila in danger, like your attack landing is enough to kind of shake off this supernatural fear that's overcome you. Perfect. I've got some bad news though, because at the end of your turn, I'm going to do a legendary action. And
at least I got rid of the disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm going to do tail flick again. So I'm going to target Nova and let's say Quill this time with a tail flick.
Oh, sure.
Nova.
Take the burb.
Take the
28 to hit Nova.
Let me just check here on my character.
I'm just rolling.
Yes.
14 points of damage, and you are also impaled by a spine. So again, -2 to attack rolls, -2 to saving throws, -2 to ability checks, and you're slowed by 10 feet. So movement reduced by 10 feet. As this thing embeds into your shoulder like this big javelin-like spine. And then Quill.
Hit me.
That is 17 to hit.
Yeah, I'll shield it.
Okay, so you conjure the shield, that's your reaction spent, but and the javelin bounces off an invisible force field that springs around you. Amazing.
Cool. Been a long time since I
Aila.
used shield.
So I'm still right next to it.
You are. You
so
are
I'm not
frightened.
technically going any closer to it, but I think what she'll do is she's frightened, but she'll just swing as she backs away from it to hit it a couple of times and then retreat to the ground, probably near Quill, because she's bleeding.
Yep.
So I'll do some attacks at disadvantage, and
yes,
I think
please.
she's more doing it as a sweeping, like, get away from me kind of
Well, you could, and again,
thing.
feel free to not do it, but like you could use Reckless to just make it a normal attack. If you're gonna because it sounds like you're swinging wildly anyway, you could Reckless, although that would mean it has advantage on attack rolls against you, which it might already do because you're frightened. Let me check that.
I think she'll just disadvantage it and see what happens, because
Yeah, okay, it
she'll
doesn't
get
get
away
advantage
anyway.
because you're frightened. Yeah. Okay, nice. All right. I mean, to be honest, with your attack bonus, you're probably going to hit it even with disadvantage.
15 plus 14 to hit.
That hit.
Oh, I rolled a 10.
Is that the
23.
lowest?
That's the highest damage I could have done on my hammer.
Oh, right, on that 23 damage.
On my hammer,
Nice.
sorry. 23 plus 4 lightning, and then second attack with disadvantage. 15 or a natural 20. Damn it! Okay, so 15. It still hits,
Still
but it's
gonna
not
hit.
a nat 20.
Still huge.
Yeah.
So still big. Oh, you rolled a 10 again. I don't trust
my
that. I'm gonna
God.
roll it again. Is that? I don't know. It rolled again. I don't. I guess it is.
You tell me.
I mean,
Tell me what damage you dealt.
that was luck. 23 plus 4 lightning damage, and then my aura, which is 3, 6,
I saved on this. That's a 20 to save. So half damage from this.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 damage, so 8 lightning damage. And she will use the 50 feet of fly
speed.
to just get away, but still face it as she gets away. And then probably the fly is going to run out about 10 feet above the ground, and then she'll probably just
She'll just drop down.
topple the rest of the way.
Because it's no longer
And I
slowed,
need
I
to-
do get to make an opportunity attack against you.
Sure.
I'm going to try and
I think I
swipe
need
with
to
a claw.
take 2d8 damage as well for taking an action and moving, because I'm bleeding.
Yes, because you're bleeding, so that's 2d8
Do you
points
roll
of
that,
damage.
or
I'll
do
roll
I?
that. Yeah, I'll roll that now. That's going to be 9 points of damage total for the 2d8. And then it's going to swipe at you with a claw for a 30 to hit.
Oh my god.
Maybe.
So, first of all, Aila, this is going to be 15 points of slashing damage. So half that to 7. Then, you don't have a shield, do you? You wield your hammer two-handed, don't you?
Two-handed.
You don't wear armor, do you?
No.
This ability has no further effect against you. So the claw rakes against your
Unarmored
skin.
defense.
Well, you sense that like these claws are so sharp that they would probably tear through plate mail. They would like tear through metal. So they would actually
Just my
damage
skin,
weapons
it's
or
fine.
armor. Yeah, it's just your skin.
my
You're a
skin.
barbarian. It's fine.
Keep Sentry away from that thing. That's all she is. She's all plate.
And I think I'll
you
just
moved
land
50
near
feet away.
Quill.
You said.
Yeah, I moved away.
Yeah, okay. It is going to use, at the end of your turn, it's going to use its legendary action to use Pounce, which allows it to move 20 feet. It would be able to make an attack, but there's nobody in range for it to attack. But you see this thing, after these like brutal attacks by Aila, it's just like, not worth it, not hungry, find food elsewhere. And it's trying to flee. It's like making a break. It's going to basically move 20 feet in the air towards the edge of the woods, or it's going to just basically try and fly away. So it's about 70 feet up in the air. Sentry. You still have Sunbeam active.
That is true. Could just keep blasting it.
Could just keep blasting. So warm.
Oh, I had a thing, and now I want to change it last minute. Oh. So, could I use plant
Could you?
growth
Oh,
but
I love
on the
creative
canopy
use of
above
spells. Yes.
to try and trap the Manticore inside the branches?
Yes. So what does plant growth actually do? Because I think it makes it like difficult terrain, doesn't it? It makes it like
Yes,
hard
it
to move.
does. Yeah.
Can you read it out for me?
Yeah, so if I cast a spell using one action, I choose a point within range. All normal plants in a 100-foot radius centered on that point become thick and overgrown. A creature moving through that area must spend 4 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves.
So it's actually like double difficult terrain. It's like twice as hard. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that work. Like if you want to do that, that would 100% work on the canopy. 100%.
Cool. Can I do that then, please? Try and track.
Basically, you watch as the canopy comes alive and just spreads out all these branches and new growths spiral outwards, creating this kind of lattice work frame of just thick foliage. And the Manticore, even with its immense strength, is like struggling to push through it all, and it's definitely going to slow it down. It's going to prevent it from, it's going to make it harder for it to escape for sure.
Nice. And then as a bonus action, can I call Starbreaker? And then it says I get the unstoppable effect, so my speed cannot be reduced below your normal speed, and I automatically break free of restrained effects at the end of my turn. So would that bring my speed back to normal?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Nice. So I'd like to do that, and then just start moving up on it.
So Sentry basically holds aloft Starbreaker, the lance. You watch the green spiral energy cascade down it, and you just feel that whatever this injury you have is not going to stop you, and you, ignoring the penalty to your movement, you can move 30 feet. It's still above you, so it's still going to be sort of like 60 feet up in the air, but you can definitely catch up a little bit of speed on it.
And get in range.
Yeah, for sure. Lucius.
I think I'm going to do a very classic chromatic orb.
Oh, classico.
Although, how far away did you say it was?
It's about 70 feet away from you at the moment, so you could move up.
No, this is 90 feet, so I'm all good.
There you go.
I'm going to do it at 4th level, and I'm going to use acid, as is tradition. So here we go. That worked. That didn't work. Here we go. 17.
17. It's no longer slowed, unfortunately. So unfortunately, that will miss. It manages to kind of barrel roll in the air, and the chromatic orb. Do you want to use Seeking?
Yes, I'm going to use Seeking. That's 2 sorcery points. I will roll again. 23.
That's going to be a hit.
Now we're talking.
You watch as Lucius, just with a gesture, the missing chromatic orb kind of doubles back on itself and careens in.
I tried that in bowling and it never worked.
So that will be 22 points, double checking for once. 23 points of acid damage.
23 points of acid damage. A great scar. You can actually see like pelvic bone. You can see like rib, like it's eaten away a section of the creature's body. Like this thing is like limping. You almost look at it. It looks like it's going to try and tear its own leg off to stave the acid from spreading further and stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save it the trouble.
Incredibly brutal. Yep.
Because I've got dichromancy of 9 points.
What's the range on that?
30. Damn it. Every time.
Every time.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Radovan, the little Haragon, will be like, the adventurers have nearly killed it. It's wounded. Loose. And it just he's basically going to order the archers to all take a shot. He's going to take a little shot himself as well. That's a natural one. Unfortunately, his arrow just thuds into the new growth that Sentry covered.
Not so cool.
But the archers at his command are going to shoot as well. And that is going to be a 19, which just barely hits. 4, 5, 9 points of damage. The arrows thud into the now wounded hide. You can see that the Manticore is desperately trying to get away. Its back hindquarters pin-cushioned by arrows, as it is in a desperate place. And kind of sensing this, Lady Penelope, who's the last one who can go, with haste on as well, is just like, Huzzah! Come, my friends, we have nearly beaten the beast! I shall deliver the final blow! And she charges forward with her lance, and she's going to make 2 attacks with her. In fact, she can make
her the glory.
Attacks. Yeah, she's glory stealing really hard right now. So that is going to be, that's cocked, I'll re-roll that. Her first attack is going to be a miss. Her second attack is going to be a miss. It just can't penetrate the hide of the creature. Third attack is a miss. It's 16 to hit. The last attack is going to be a... Nope, it's going to be a 17, which is not enough.
Damn it, we don't mind if you glory steal, just do it.
Definitely trying, but the lance just won't pierce through its hide. The knights are all cheering and clapping very well done, my lady, surely you must have wounded it. And they're all clapping for her. She thinks that she's wounded this thing. She's like, huzzah, take that, this beast. And she's calling out to it.
I think I was skipped a turn, so I'll just take a quick one now, if that's cool.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. I just wanted to do a big heal on Aila, which is going to be a 4th level Cure Wounds.
You sure you want to heal, Tom?
I could. Look, I'm a murderer, but it's a new age for Quill. I'm going to heal.
You facilitate death.
Did you make a saving throw against the fear, by the way? Do you want to do that now?
I did not.
No, do that now while Tom heals.
I got 17.
Oh, still frightened, unfortunately.
Damn. Well, you heal for some plus something. There you go. I can't see where this is. Plus 6. 23. I don't know how much the damage of the attack that made you bleed was, but...
Well...
It was less than that, because... Yeah, it was less than that, I think. The highest damage I took was from the psychic damage, which was...
Nice. I think bleeding should then be cured in that case, with 23.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
It was about 15 or something, wasn't it?
It was.
Nice.
I should remember.
Yeah. Well,
it's enough. It's enough to remove the
my
bleeding
entire
effect.
thing.
Cool. The Manticore at the top of a brand new round is going to go. Before it moves, it currently has Lady Penelope right behind it. But it also knows that the more scary people are the ones down below. Lady Penelope didn't really do anything. So it's going to flick its tail spine and it's going to choose 3 creatures within range, which is going to be Sentry, Nova, and probably Lucius because of that chromatic orb. Lucius, you still have cover. And yeah, I'm going to make a tail spine attack. So against, this is going to be how many? 1d3 tail spike attacks against each one. Ho ho. So... against Nova Vija, I'm going to be making 1 tail spike attack. Against Sentry, 3 tail spike attacks. And against Lucius, 1 tail spike attack. Let's do Nova and Lucius first then. Come on, get out of the way. Get out of the way, dice. I need to click a thing underneath you. So, Lucius, 17 with your +5 AC from cover.
That does not hit.
It does not hit. It thuds into the tree, sending splinters all around you.
Yeah.
Nova Vija. Oh, it was on a 2 and then
impaled. So
no negative to AC, just to attack rolls and saving throws.
Okay.
But you get hit again that was a 27 to hit.
Yes.
So you're going to take 14 points of piercing damage, and a second spine is now impaled in your leg like Ace Ventura.
Oh, goody. And
that's it. The effect stacks, so that's a -4 now. Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah. So
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And then Sentry. But this thing's on the run. Like, this thing's like nearly dead. And then Sentry, 3 attacks your way.
Rock and roll.
22.
Be like Boromir in Lord of the Rings. Oh God, no.
15 points of piercing damage and another spine in you. That's going to miss. That's a 14, so we know that misses. And then the last one is a 24 to hit. That's going to hit. So 3. This is going to be another 13 piercing damage. 3 spines sticking out of Sentry, just like true Boromir. But because of Unstoppable, your movement speed isn't affected. Your penalties to attack are, though, so you still get the -6 to attack rolls.
-6, okay.
I am.
But it is Nova Vija. And then at the end of the turn, that's its attack. Then it's going to move away. Lady Penelope gets an attack of opportunity.
Here we go, baby.
Come on, Penelope.
Go, baby. 18 + 5, 23 is enough. D12 +3. D12 +3 for a lance.
Come on, plop, plop.
10 + 3, 13 points of damage. So you watch as it turns to run, Lady Penelope just calls out, "Craven coward, you will not flee from me!" And then pierces the lance, and it finally goes through the hide. And you just watch as the Manticore twists, taking her lance with it, vomits to the ground. And all the knights are like, "Oh, fine blue, my lady, fine blue, huzzah, huzzah!" As they cheer, as this thing
took 6.
Yeah.
6 hits, 1 kill. Wait, no, not even 6 hits. 6 attacks.
Yeah.
One kill.
Yeah. But yeah, The thing falls to the ground. The knights, the Fey folk, all cheering. Radafan is like, "Good job, everyone! But let's give it up for our adventuring friends." And they're all like, "Huzzah! Huzzah to the traveling adventurers!" And they all kind of clap and cheer for you as well.
Oh, please! It's honestly nothing. We just thought we'd aid those in need.
Yeah, when you say that, Lady Penelope kind of flies down, and the knights definitely react very well to that. They're just like, a true nobleman spirit, this one, my lady. And they gesture to Lucius, and she flies down like, an elven knight or a nobleman, perhaps? Am I speaking with?
Yes, quite. Lucius Viren Elven Elanasto at your service, and...
Oh, well... It is a pleasure to honor one of the noble elven lineages, Lord Elanasto, and thank you. Your aid has been most appreciated. I'm sure that my knights and I would have been able to destroy the beast in time, but I will not say no to a little help now and then.
Oh, and speeds up the process so you can fight some more.
Well, indeed, I think that my men and women, the men and women under me, have earned a rest. We will find somewhere to find succor, and then tomorrow we will begin anew. We'll hunt some new beast that prowls the free lands. But what brings you to Lunaria, especially to these wildernesses? Perhaps is there something that we could do to return the favor of your aid? I'm just leaning with the French accent for her now, so.
We're a little bit lost, we'll be honest. I'll pass you over to one of our more smarter people. Who wants to take this?
I like this idea that Lucius looks around looking for Nova, who knows where they need to go.
Where's Nova?
And she's just standing in the background, just like, just looking at these spikes and pale.
There was a point, you might be out of initiative, but those spines don't go away when the Manticore dies. Those spines are in you, and you have to remove them.
I'm not scared of things now, right?
No, you're not. No, yeah, you're all fine.
I'll probably go over to Nova.
Yeah, so normally it's an athletics check, but Sentry and Aila can pretty much make this, like, with time. You're not in any pressure, so you can just pull them out. However, it is a D8 of damage every time you pull one out. So, are you gonna?
So Ayla's gonna.
I'm gonna hold on to Aila and just be like, on three, count three, count three. One.
Yeah.
She's not gonna get to 3. She's gonna definitely, or then she's gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then wait a little bit, and then just when she least expects it, just
hold them.
Yeah, just
8
really.
points of piercing. Nova, 8 points more.
If this were a camera shot, this would be happening like slightly blurred in the background, where I'm like, she'll be right with you. 1 second.
And then meanwhile, as well. You know, the canopy, the grown canopy of like thorns and briars and vines that kind of almost, I imagine like the manticores maybe kind of partially caught up in it where it's grown outwards. We also see Sentry with 3 of these things sticking out of her as well.
The manticore body just slips down slightly in the trees. Just
a mangled
style.
leg.
Yeah. Do you want to remove these spines, Sentry?
Yeah, I'll just be pulling them out as I walk over. Just
like a badass. 6 points of damage. I rolled 2 1s, so that's not bad. Easy.
Was that 8 points of damage? Was that 1 spike? Because I've got 2.
That was 2. There was 2 spikes. I rolled both at the same time.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're all good.
Well, not thank you.
Because they can't be reduced, so I might as well just roll it all together. You see that the knights are kind of doing the same to their companions. They're like bandaging their wounds, helping free them of like spines and stuff like that. And yes, Lady Penelope, when Lucius kind of says like perhaps you should speak to the others, she's like, yes, indeed, I think that perhaps some introductions should be in order. We only had a brief moment to speak before. I caught some of your names in your battle, but it is only appropriate that we properly introduce ourselves. I believe that I may have been a little hot-headed when we first spoke. I was in the throes of battle, you see. I was ready to catch the beast, but now is the time for manners and politeness. So I am Lady Penelope El Pavo Real of the Knights of the Splendid Panoply. This is Radovan, my Fey folk at arms, my sergeant, and these are my knights and squires. And we are. Where is my musician? Have you seen my satyr? He is my musician. He normally accompanies us.
Yes, your little drummer boy ran off into the trees just over that way. May
Ratted
gain
out.
some distance.
What a coward! Digger! And she's like, you, and she points to the three healthy knights that you healed. Go and find him. He is our musician. He should be playing our music when we are victorious against beasts, not cowering some hole. And they're like, of course, my lady. Let us go find the little satyr man, the goat man. Ha ha ha! And they go trouncing off into the woods to try and find him.
Okay. Well, good. I mean, I'm Keelakad Kalar, a guide and a seer for the group you see before you, and I'm not doing a good job. Yeah, we're lost. We're looking for. Well, we're looking for
you are far from the mountains and spires where your folk would be most suitable. Yes, like the forest is no place for a hawk like yourself.
No, well. No, you're right. No, that's why we're looking to get out of the forest at earliest convenience and maybe find our way towards Nova. Nova, this is Nova.
Hello.
Hello, little lady.
Your ladyship. Good to see you awake, up and about. My name is Nova Vija. We're looking for. Oh, hold on a minute.
Do you need a moment's respite? We can set a short camp. We can take an hour or so to relax, bust out some wine, perhaps.
I appreciate your but it may be in a moment. We have other companions with us. We're looking for Heartspire.
Heartspire, and she kind of turns to the knights. Oh well, I was going to offer you my assistance I was going to escort you wherever you wish to go, but I'm afraid that Heartspire is, unfortunately, I cannot take you there. It is not somewhere that I can take you.
May I ask why?
Oh, yes, of course. Do you not know of, it's strange, why, if you were, are you not from Lunaria? You would know if you were from Lunaria, that's why you cannot go there.
See, that's where we're in a little snafu, for we are not from here at all.
Oh, yes, of course, you are from some other world, yes, I assume.
Exactly, so we're unacquainted with the wonderful Fae, wild Lunaria.
Oh, very strange. Radovan's like, well, where's your guide? You must have had a guide if you've come in. Do you not have a guide who can show you the way?
Well, we sort of do, and there she is. And she's unaware that she was Fae until moments ago.
Oh, so and at this point we see like Thalia, Rosemeadow, Kyrie, and Big Cat all coming in. And yeah, like they kind of come in, and Rosemeadow is just like looking around. And when she sees Radovan, classic Rosemeadow is like, oh my goodness, the little bunny man, and then like gallops over, kind of thing. Like, he's so cute, he's got a little hat on, and she's just like really excited.
That would be the guide we utilized.
So Radovan is preoccupied. He's picked up and immediately like cuddled, and he's like, "Get off me! She's so strong," and things like that. But Lady Penelope will kind of turn around and say like, clearly you have a centaur of the roaming meadows. But you say that she does not know that she's Fae. She does not know where she comes from.
She has no memory of this place. No.
Ah, how peculiar. Some sort of cruel magic has been played upon her. Well, I can help you at least a little in terms of... firstly, the reason that I cannot take you to Artspire is it is, how do I say... a wall has been erected many centuries ago now, a great briar wall, and no one enters or leaves. It is not so much declared as the other lords, the other archfey do not seem to care about Artspire. They do not forbid people to go there, but it is very difficult. Even myself, I cannot fly in. There are many stories about that flying is not possible in Artspire, and the briar wall keeps out everyone else.
Oh.
So... unfortunately, it is not somewhere I could help. However, I might be able to repay you in some other way. Your friend here, and she gestures to Rosemeadow, I do know of a camp of Centaur perhaps they may be able to help you. They may know something about your friend. They're not too far from here. We saw them when we were coming into the forest. I can certainly lead you back to them. It's a safe place to rest, to recover, have some drinks, have some food, that sort of thing. And perhaps they may know a little bit more about Artspire. They may know a way in. I'm happy to accompany you there, and perhaps wherever your journeys take you. But unfortunately, Artspire is not somewhere that I can help you with, I'm afraid.
I appreciate all the help you're trying to provide us. We are still a little pressed for time. I assume it's quite distant from here, right?
The Centaur camp is, it's less than, it's around the days. Hardspire, yes, is many days travel from here. I would recommend that you do not travel through this wood either. Woods in general, if you are new to Lunaria, the woods here, they have a special effect on beasts. The magic present within these places can make them grow particularly strong. That Manticore that you saw, that is no normal Manticore. A Manticore does not normally grow so big or so aggressive. But these forests, they are filled with similar beasts. It would be dangerous to travel through them. The roads, in general, whenever you travel anywhere within the kingdoms, travel by roads if you can.
Right.
There is a road that leads to Artspire. I can put you on that path, but I would prefer to take you somewhere safe to begin with. The Centaur camp where you can rest and maybe get some information.
It sounds like a great idea. I have an idea. I don't know if anyone else thought of it.
Oh, okay, go. What is it?
Go for it.
We acquaint ourselves with the Centaur, and they become great friends of ours, and we owe them a favor whilst we ride on them to Heartspire, taking us far less time than we normally would.
How long will it take to befriend them, though?
We've got Rosemeadow. Look at Rosemeadow.
Oh, my good sir, the roaming meadows are very amiable people. They are very friendly. They consider all people to be their friend. They will offer food and drink to anyone that visits. They are very nice. They are one of the better groups to find yourself in the company of here in the Feywild.
Are they, at the very least, on the way to the Heartspire?
I think so. Certainly, they are outside of this wood, and from there will be a road that you can follow, and it will be faster than traveling as the forgive the avian joke, but it will still be faster than traveling as the crow flies through the woods.
Well,
I thought you would find that funny.
If we're in agreement, I'd say let's go meet Rosemedow's people.
As you guys are having this, Thalia kind of moves up to Nova, and she'll whisper to you while this Lucius is kind of distracting the knights and Lady Penelope, and she'll say, Did this woman mention who she works for? Did she mention what house she serves or which kingdom?
I believe she said the Knights of Splendid Panoply, and she's Lady Penelope El Pavel Royale?
It's not a name I know. We'll need to chant something. And she'll say, Excuse me, my good lady knight, what house do you serve? And hearing this, Lady Penelope turns to Thalia and says, oh, my good lady, I did not see you there. We are free knights. We do not serve any particular lord. Unfortunately, Valkyrion, as he has requested that the Ouse lords and the kingdoms prepare for war. Many of the Ouse knights now are dedicated to boarding his ships and flying off to some part of astral space, which leaves the business of curtailing monsters and dealing with bandits to the free knights such as myself. Until then, the Ouse knights would normally take care of beasts like this. But unfortunately, my work, well, fortunately for me, the honor has now been mine to capture and kill these creatures. Speaking of which, we must attend to this thing. And she points to the body, which is now hanging from a vine down to the ground. A trophy must be taken. And she will send her and her knights basically start hacking off like the paws and things like that.
Damn. Gross.
Out of interest, how many of the house lords and ladies still remain in Lunaria?
Many, yes. There are dozens of houses and provinces that spread across Lunaria. Yes, it's hard to tell. The problem with these, if I can give you a piece of advice, my fine feathered friend, do not get involved in the politics of the Fey Lords and the Fey houses. It is complex. There is always a new house springing up somewhere, or some distant cousin or princess or prince of some fairy queen or fairy or winter spirit or some such who's claiming a dominion that they didn't have before, and there's so many of them now. That is why I prefer to be a free knight. It is perhaps not as glamorous. We do not have some lofty castle. We do not have some, we do not have fancy pedigree, but we are honest and we are true. We are good of heart. And free, most importantly.
Good. And you have the strength of your allies to fell beasts like that thing that is about to come crashing to the ground, by the way.
Oh, yes. I'm excited. I'm going to take a fine trophy.
Well,
while Lady Penelope and Radovan is eventually put down by Rosemeadow and he quickly runs away, they go about basically butchering this Manticore corpse. Like they are like claws, teeth, eyes. They harvest this thing.
Oh, gross.
It gives you guys a moment, and Thalia will turn to you all and say, "Well, I don't. What do you wish to do? I appreciate that. Obviously, there is something of a time concern, but also I know that Rosemeadow is the one that we wouldn't be here without Rosemeadow, and I feel that there is a chance that she could perhaps learn something about her people that may be a worthwhile distraction. But I ask you."
It seems like the only destination we know of that is both outside of the forest and on a road towards the Heartspire. It seems to make sense. Plus, like they said, they're friendly people. We could use their help trying to get through these briar walls in the Heartspire, if they're willing to give it.
Also, I think Nova's a bit traumatized from the spike incident, so maybe a little sit down, not such a bad idea.
I'm just sat in the background, poking my leg holes.
Stop poking it. You're going to make it worse.
Oh,
That'll cause infection, Nova. Look.
Well, I can come over there and pour some alcohol on it if you really want.
Or I could cauterize it with some fire.
Or I could just heal it, and I'm going to first level cure wounds it.
Yes.
It's nowhere near as fun, Quill.
No, but it's much less disgusting.
The alcohol would have been pretty funny, though. Oh, she would have screamed.
I don't think she realizes how much it stings to do that.
I think it would be a real stinger. Oh, this is nicer. Yeah. This is nicer.
It's nicer. 13 healing.
Thank you.
I think this is our best bet. Befriending the Centaurs, showing Rosemeadow her people. I think we do have some time. You were so quick to take me from Horizon, and she gestures to the tattoo, Thalia's snake, this kind of emblem, the briar thorn that's growing. It hasn't really moved that much. It's maybe got a little bit longer, but it's still, barely up her forearm. Cool. That's good. I think we have some time. I don't know if this will accelerate here. I don't know if this will accelerate in general, but whilst we have the time, let's make the most of it. And it's the best direction we have.
I want Rosemeadow to get something out of this. Without her, we wouldn't even be here.
They could be very good allies as well for I guess the time spent befriending them would negate time we would spend trying to deal with anything that we are unaware of.
Lost in the woods.
Dealing with anybody that isn't connected to the Fey Kingdoms, that is not connected to the Lords and Ladies, if we can deal with free folk like these knights and centaurs, all the better. The second we get embroiled into politics here, that will eat up our time. They are notoriously fickle with what they want to achieve.
Right. Good to know. Thank you. Let's be on our way then.
Keep us posted. If that tattoo starts spreading, we'll move.
I'll tell you, Sentry. Don't worry.
In fact, actually, can I Thalia? And if Thalia gives me her arm, I want to take out my quill and mark on her arm where the tattoo currently is, so that if it progresses, I can see that it's gone beyond that mark.
Scientific method. You're going to start
time
and then examining it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's like, well, I do like it when you're very smart. And she kind of gives you a little wink. And yeah, she does that. Anything else
I think we should probably start moving. And also, because it's pre-recorded, we've got no concept of time.
Yeah, well, also we started a little bit later, so I was trying to keep an eye on like the time, but I wasn't sure exactly when we started to when we do this. So, but now is a good time for a break.
Indeed.
Yeah, because I am overeating.
Yeah, dude, fucking tell me about it.
A lot of our costumes are going to be radically de-dressed, so...
Not mine. I can't. I'm stuck in this thing for a while. So this is not an easy removal.
The shades are coming off.
Rhiannon,
I can't see.
How itchy is your nose right now?
It's not bad, actually.
Okay.
All right.
Have you thought about it now? Because I keep thinking I've got eyeshadow down here, and if I itch this part of my nose, it's no good. And you've got it everywhere.
My nose isn't real.
Oh, you've got a nice thing.
Underneath it. Oh, that's even worse.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Those little fangs are so cute as well. Cool. I love the little fangs.
I have bottom ones as well, but they keep coming out.
You do hear it. Like, I felt a bit bad when I was like, can you read plant growth out? And you were like, at 60 feet. It's quite funny. All right. The Askian is making us all take a break, so we better go before.
Foolish warrior of light, pathetic. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We will see you after that, and we'll finish off this little Halloween special High Rollers episode.
See you in a bit.
Let me tell you a tale of a time almost lost, of a man whose intelligence came at a great cost, a doctor, a wizard, a famed necromancer, but when it comes to corpses, he's a bit of a chancer, for the bones and the flesh that the man chose to fetch would never match the doc's gruesome sketch. To create a new monster, see, that was his goal, but the creature still slept at Bell's final toll. Well, blast it and damn it, my creation is bust. This creature won't live till all becomes rust. At that did the lightning burst through the sky, impacting the monster, making flesh fry. What's this? There's life in you yet! His maniacal laugh ceased by what came next.
My master, my leader, my father, my god, you've given me life. But what's up with this bod? The skin you have gifted is covered in hair. And what is this smell that poisons the air? A life of nightmare is what you have shaped. Have you not heard of the wonderful Manscaped?
Manscaped, you say? How in the hells can they help? You expect them to save you from the hand you've been dealt? Smooth skin, sweet smells, all a man can desire. Live the life that you want with a confident fire.
The performance package is the perfect fit. Clipping nails with the Shears Nail Kit. Trim hair with precision with the 4.0 mower, and 25% off with the code High Rollers.
Resurrecting the dead, the doctor's army grew. Smooth skin, sweet smells covered the land anew. All of his victims watched in terror, agape. Thanks, in part, to the wonderful Manscaped. Manscaped will not resurrect the dead or assist any maniacal scientist in taking over the world, but it will make you smell great and give you supreme confidence. Just use the code High Rollers for 25% off and free shipping. Sorry about this, Manscaped.
Welcome back to our Halloween High Rollers. Some of us have undergone slight costume changes, removing annoying items. I've removed my crown, and that makes it not very obvious who I am. I'm Xarkira, commander of the Valkyrian armies. We're joined by many people, but we're back to finish off and play some Dungeons and Dragons. We got Princess Azula of the Fire Nation. We've got Macho Man Randy Savage without the sunglasses on, so it's just Trott in a bandana. We've got Aila, literally Aila, both in voice and body and face, completely.
My superhero alter ego.
Yeah, we have Lahabrea of Final Fantasy XIV.
Lahabrea, or now just a leather jacket wearing guy with a mask on.
Yeah. And then we have Kamara, the kind of officer of the Stormbreaker. Who the fuck are you, bitch?
Without the eyes, taking teeth out so I can talk.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, you've taken your contacts and your teeth out. Good.
Yeah,
good.
no more spinning eyes.
Yeah, they were rotating.
They were going somewhere else. Their own plans tonight.
Oh god, yeah, like just spinning around. Any sort of like costume thing, I think inevitably within like an hour and a half, 2 hours, people are like taking off and doing whatever they can.
Yeah. Next Halloween,
not Katie.
And of course,
Not queer.
finally,
mine was just breaking. I would have literally stayed in mine, but it's falling
Kim's
apart.
here too.
Yeah, Kim's got it as well.
First.
Oh, okay.
First.
I thought you got left out. Sorry, my apologies.
To be fair,
Sorry, I appreciate that.
There isn't a headpiece involved with mine or glasses, so
yeah,
you've got wig on, haven't you?
as standard. I do have wig on, but I'm kind of used to them at this point.
It is hot in this room.
Although I will say there's like 3 layers on though. I do have quite a lot, and my belt.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Oh, me.
I'm wearing a top backwards.
Yeah,
and I'm wearing.
This is like a backwards top.
Right.
Costumes. Woo.
I need to keep drinking water because I do worry I'm dehydrating quite rapidly under here.
Mark has
Oh my god.
a massive job ahead of him for DMing the rest of the.
I do the rest of this adventure.
Huge responsibility.
Listen, all I'm saying is if we see a massive increase to Twitch subs for High Rollers, I might have to wear these every week.
You have to keep wearing them.
Keep wearing them. Hot tub stream, we'll get it all on there. So joking aside. Oh god. Yeah, we are jumping back in. The party have defeated the Feywild Manticore, this extremely powerful Manticore that was harassing villages and has been dispatched by the party and a new group of companions, the Knights of the Splendid Panoply, led by Lady Penelope, that have accompanied the PC and offered to escort them somewhere in return for their aid. And the plan, I believe, was to head to a Centaur settlement to kind of gain rest, take a moment's respite, but also maybe try and find out a little bit more about Rosemeadow before heading on to Heartspire, which is Thalia's homeland, home kingdom, birthplace, and deal with this curse that's going on. The Knights of the Splendid Panoply waste no time. Once they've butchered the Manticore corpse for trophies, gathered everything up, they begin leading you out of the woods. Not really taking much moment to respite, claiming that it's a few hours away, basically, this Centaur camp to get to the edge of the woods. You'd already traveled about 6, 7, 8 hours beforehand, and it's a couple more hours now to reach the edges of the wood.
Pretty
eventually
exhausted at this point.
Yeah, and you just had like a pretty gnarly fight as well, so there's definitely some injuries and stuff going around, but yeah, you guys make your way, the knights leading the way. Eventually they do find their little musician, their satyr Dago, and they head out. The blue luminous leaves and the lilac grass and the blue flowers of this wood become thinner and thinner. The trees eventually starting to grow sparser and further apart until eventually you begin to see the sight of green grass fields rolling out in the horizon. On the horizon, you begin to see mountains, although from this distance, as large as they are on the horizon now, you can only imagine the size that these mountains would actually reach, far higher than any natural mountain ever could. One of the spires seems to reach so high it disappears not just beyond the clouds but into the atmosphere, potentially reaching up all the way into astral space. But the knights and Lady Penelope lead you down onto out of the wood. Once you're kind of out of the immediate kind of vicinity of the glade and the cover of the trees, it doesn't take long, maybe another hour's journey, before you find a dirt kind of road, a traveler's road that stretches east to west. And after a short journey, you come into view of a lake that is pristine, crystal clear. There are actually rocks that float above it with a seemingly perpetual waterfall that just seems to flow into the lake that then becomes several meandering rivers that descend. And on the edges of the lake, you can see bright, colorful Bedouin tents, marquees, and wagons. And roaming around, you see small centaur children, foals running around, being chased by parents. You can see artisans. You can see cooks and people making like meals out on big long tables. All of them have long flowing brown chestnut hair. Their bodies are all kind of like dappled horses. And yeah, they seem to be in the process of merrymaking and just general rest. But their bright, colorful tents sitting on the edge of the lake creates this very picturesque camp-like spot.
I'm just looking at Rosemeadow to gauge her response to all of this.
Yeah, well, Rosemeadow, I think all through the journey, she's just constantly, finding new things to be excited about as you make your way through the woods. But upon seeing the lake, her attention is first taken by the lake, and she just marvels at the beauty, kind of like, oh my goodness, kind of just amazed by it. But there is, I think Quill would sense this, anybody with an passive insight of 15, there is trepidation when she sees the centaurs. There's actually the first signs of a little bit of nervousness. Her hoofs just kind of scraping against the grass, kind of wringing her hands. It doesn't say anything though.
We have made it after the longest journey. Rosemeadow, are you okay?
Oh, yes, Birdie, yes, I'm fine. Just there's so many wonderful things here to see, and those folks down there, they look awfully busy, and I don't want to trouble them. And we've traveled such a long way, like you said, but we have your friend that needs help, and you can see that she's unsure. She wants to go. You get the impression that she wants to go and speak to the Centaurs, but she is obviously nervous about doing so.
Look, if you want us to go forward and introduce ourselves first, you can stay behind us. As with the rest of the journey, we'll keep you safe. You don't need to make the first move. We can do that for you.
That sounds nice. Yes, please. And she just kind of nods. She kind of looks around to everybody else. The Lady Penelope will say, well, if you wish, we will probably go down and ask the Centaurs for a night's rest. We will probably rest here this evening. So if you wish to do so with us, you are more than welcome.
Okay. Now, it's been a long time since we've walked into a new town and not immediately been recognized. So I can't exactly remember how we used to do this. It was normally, hey, everyone, we're here to unearth an ancient evil. Let's ruin everything for like a week or two and then save everyone. That's normally how it goes.
Now, quickly, Aila's got her hand up, and I'm very worried that she wants to take the lead on introductions.
No, I was just going to remind you that I'm not going to take offense to that because it's true. I was just going to inform you that I will in fact be standing at the back of the group, and that's probably for the best. Just let me know when you
can stay next to me, Aila, and like Rosemeadow will link your arm.
Yeah, oh yay. Yeah, physical contact, yay.
I thought you were a delight, though. What about the delightful part? You keep saying you're a delight.
I am a delight. But many people in many worlds now, we've been to several, don't really think so. So, I mean, to give us our best shot initially, maybe you and Quill can lead it, maybe Lucius. I'll be here. I'll be delightful in the back, thanks.
You hear a little voice from behind Thalia. A little Kyrie kind of just sticks her little head out, like folding her wings, her kind of feathery wings around. She's like, Quill's very nice for somebody to go and introduce themselves. He was the nicest one to me. And like she just kind of like says that, like sticks her little head out.
That's adorable. Thank you.
I think I'll go forward. Who wants to come with me?
Well, I think Quill and Sentry are the nicest people we know.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously me and Nova are a very, very close second, right?
Thalia will actually kind of hold Nova's hand and say, I think I should linger near the back, and I prefer if you stayed with me, just because I don't want anybody to recognize me. It's been a long time, but Fae have long lives. They may know who I am.
My priority is you, and plus, I want to hold your hand. Let's go hold hands at the back.
Part in the back with the people who don't do well with interaction. Woo-hoo!
I do well with interaction, but other people don't seem to react very well to my interaction. I think I've been called the word intense before. Don't really understand it.
I would definitely use that to describe you, dear.
Lucius is just dreamily clasping his hands near his cheek and just smiling at the hands that are being held. It's so romantic.
Thalia just looks at you and sort of narrows her eyes. Meanwhile, Sentry and Quill, sounds like you guys are the front party to go and introduce yourselves.
Okay, we just stride in and say hello to someone. You're the morale officer. You should do this. You're going to be the best at this, I'll be honest.
Normally waving works.
I can
go
wave.
in there,
Okay.
big friendly wave, hello, and then it will just let it all.
So when Sentry does that, you see a few of the Centaur foals, the kids, stop and they wave back.
It's working. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh, you're so cute.
Okay.
They immediately gallop towards you. They come at a full run. Do you try and move out of the way? Are you gonna stride in move, because you don't know if they're gonna stop. They're running at you. What do you do?
Oh, yes, this way.
I mean, I'm gonna float up a bit so I'm above them if they do decide to charge straight into me.
Lucius is wide-armed and bracing.
So they gallop up, and then just before they reach Sentry, they do manage to put the stop. But one of them, you mentioned, who's a bit younger, does stumble, and they sort of buckle their legs a little bit, and they do kind of have to catch themselves. But they do kind of pull up, and they look at you, and one's got a little kind of gap in the middle of their teeth, he's a young boy with curly brown hair that kind of spills around his shoulders, and he's kind of got a bit of a goofy looking face, big kind of wide eyes, and he's just look at you, you're like a metal woman, oh wow, and he's just amazed at you, and just I've never seen anything like you before, and kind of dancing up, and then the little girl kind of is just oh, where are you from, and it's looking around at everybody basically.
Sentry will crouch down just so she's more on their eye level. Just be
because these are kids. If it was a normal Centaur, you probably wouldn't need to, but because these are kids, you kind of take a knee and they kind of look up at you, and the boy comes forward and he's can I touch? And he's pointing at your arms and stuff, and he wants to touch them.
Yeah, go for it. It's all metal.
He's wow, cool. And he's just really, they're just curious. They're just amazed and bewildered by it all. The young girl is peering at everything, and she's oh, Edwin, they've got knights, and then she points at the Lady Penelope, who are just, they bow their heads and kind of gesture. We should go and tell Ulstus. Go and tell Ulstus.
Wait, who is this Ulstus? Is this the mayor of the town?
I don't know what a mayor is. He's our commodore. He leads our family. He's the head of our family.
Oh well, if you wish to speak to your commodore, then we would love to come with you.
Come! And the little boy is holding Sentry's hand and is tugging her along, and the young girl one is bouncing up all around everybody, and comes and looks at Quill and is just oh, Birdman, and kind of ruffles your feathers, and then looks at Lucius and this one's got blonde hair, and I haven't seen blonde hair like that before, and they just bounce around and stuff like that, completely amazed by everybody. They kind of look in Aila's direction, and I think that there is amazement, but there's that kids thing of oh, she does look big and I don't want to bother her, but she looks amazing, and they're kind of scared to approach, but they still are amazed by it all.
She'll
look at
just
this big cat.
She'll just look at them and be hi,
hello. And then they get distracted by the big cat. They're a big cat, and then they run over to big cat who's wow, gets all back goes up, and he's kind of getting
he don't
angry with
that.
them and stuff. And they're oh, silly kitty, and then they just bounce bounce around. But yeah, they basically start leading you down to the water's edge, and you can already see a bunch of adult centaurs have seen this happening, and they've started congregating in sort of like their little camp. There's like a bunch of tents. There must be sort of like 7 or 8 big Bedouin tents. There's a number of like marquees set up with like big long tables. All of it, there's no chairs. All of the tables look like they're meant to be like the centaurs kneel at them, so they kind of get on their legs and crouch down. There's no chairs or beds or anything like that you can see. It is a camp designed for centaurs.
Standing desks for humans?
Kind of. They're more like, so I guess they would be like desks, and the centaurs do that horse thing where they like go down on, like, they kind of fold their legs up and they sit down. But they're like, you see some craft stations, and the craft stations are basically standing desks. Like they're highly raised up. Like you guys wouldn't be able to use them, they're so high. Cool. And one particularly big looking centaur male is right in the middle of the family, and you can see that they wear like a leather apron with like all hand decorated designs down their front. They're not wearing any other clothes. They literally just have like this leather apron and then a belt with like loads of tools on it. Like it looks like leather workers' tools. Cool. And he's like rubbing his hands. He's got like graying brown hair tied into an extremely long ponytail that's all braided, and it hangs down loose by his side. His tail has also been braided, and there's all sorts of like leather wraps and decoration have been woven in amongst the braids. As soon as he sees you, he's just like, I bid you welcome. Welcome to the Fairmeadows family, travelers. Welcome, please. Come, sit, eat. Partake in a moment of rest with us. Not often that we see knights and travelers on the road.
Fantastic. It's so easy. Honestly, I didn't expect such hospitality straight away. We were preparing waves, all that sort of thing.
You're very lucky to come across one of the meadow roamers, my friend. We are friendly folk, all of the families. I'm Ulstus Fairmeadow. I lead the Fairmeadow family, and I welcome you wholeheartedly to my camp. And please come sit. I'm afraid that we often don't have many visitors of your kind, 2 legs. So we do not have chairs, but we have plenty of cushions that you can come and sit upon. And I think my wife's just dealing up a lovely bit of lunch for us all.
That would be delightful. We've been traveling a long time, and anything to sit on. I mean, we're used to the ground at this point, but we'll definitely take a cushion.
Oh, come. And then his eyes are kind of glancing over everybody, and then he sees Rosemeadow, and he's like, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, first of all, I didn't know that you traveled with another meadow roamer. Of course you're welcome. A friend of any family is a friend of the Fairmeadow. Come, sister. And he gestures to her, and Rosemedow's like freaking out. Like Rosemeadow is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know these people.
Sentry would take Rosemedow's hand just gently. It's okay, Rosemeadow. Just start by saying hi. Small steps.
Hello. And she kind of manages to look at. I'm sorry. I don't really remember much. I don't know your family. I don't know who I am. And she just kind of blurts it out, like, because this guy's like calling her sister and like saying, yes, come, who are you with? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, my dear. I don't know what's befallen you, but of course, well, you're clearly a meadow roamer like us. Yes, come. And he just gestures very softly. My good metal lady, did you call her Rosemeadow?
Yes, I did.
Oh. Just as well. You should come and sit, and obviously your friend here is a little nervous. Come, my girl. And he gestures to Rosemeadow like, you shall have a fine seat, and we'll get you something to eat and something to drink, something sweet, perhaps. And she's like, yes, I like sweets, yes. And he's like, of course. And he gestures. And then he says, we should talk more. He gestures to you, Sentry. We should talk more about your friend and your travels and these reasons that you've come to our camp. We love to tell stories around the fire at night, and perhaps you can share one with us in exchange for a bit of food and a bit of drink and a bit of rest. But come, and he sits, and you guys have a moment. Is there anything you guys want to talk about, or like talk amongst yourselves, or like do? There's plenty of, like, you can see that there's all sorts of different centaurs here. Like there's maybe about 20 or so, 20, 21, 22.
I think I'd just brief everybody a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
These people seem absolutely wonderful. And I think we should also be a little cautious with how open we are. I'm sure they're going to be very open with us. Certain details, and I look to Thalia, we don't necessarily need to inform them about.
She nods. Also, and I'm sure that this fellow means well, if anybody offers you anything here, ask and make sure that they do not expect anything in return.
Oh, there's always a deal.
Do not
there.
eat, do not drink, do not do anything unless you are certain it is being freely offered. They must say it out loud that it is freely offered. This is a place where things like that can be very magically powerful.
Right.
Oh, now you've got me thinking. How did he offer the food and the cushions to us?
Don't sit in it, don't eat it.
I mean, we haven't sat down, right? Nobody sit down.
Just ask. In fact, let me ask. And she will say, "Excuse me, Ulstus, was it?" And he turns and he says, "Aye, fair elven lady. Yes, indeed, Ulstus Fairmeadow." And she's like, "Would you please confirm that your offering is given freely, without expectation or cost?" And you see, he kind of looks at her and his eyes kind of shift a moment. And he kind of nods. Well, you're obviously used to dealing with those Fey nobles and the Archfey. We don't do those kind of tricks here, madam. I offer food, drink, rest, and succor for freely with no obligation. Please. We mean you no harm, no tricks. We're not some pixie coven. We're not some satyrs out for shenanigans or mischief. We're just simple folk who enjoy good company. You can be at ease here.
Well, of course. We wouldn't take these things so freely. We have many fantastical stories to share with you.
Indeed, fantastical stories. And if by any chance I can see that you travel in the company of knights, we have people here that can attend to weapons and armor and craftsmanship. I happen to be a bit of a craftsman myself, an artisan. If there's things that perhaps I could make you in an evening, perhaps I'd be more than happy to exchange goods for gold or jewelry that you carry. All such things are always useful to a traveler. But yes, indeed, come. And he gestures. And you can see that, like, already the other centaurs have brought out big cushions, like horse-sized long cushions, very thick, very plump, and they've pulled them out of wagons and they've laid them out so that you can sit next to each other. So it's like, rather than being a long ways for a horse, they put them sideways so that two humanoids can sit down on them. And they begin setting them around a table, and they bring out food. It's simple food. It's nothing fancy. It's things like basic bread rolls, like a tub of butter, some fruits, some vegetables, some like nuts and things like that. But it's all, it's stuff that they could easily offer freely and not worry about the cost of too much. And yeah, they begin laying it all out on the table for you.
A fine banquet.
Oh, no, this is no banquet, sir. Not at all. Not at all. This is merely what we can offer travelers for free. If you have a little coin to repay us, I'd be more than happy to bust out our finest supplies. We've got fine meats and all sorts of treats and sweets and drinks that we can share as well. But unfortunately, that we only have in limited stock, so I must ask for a little bit of coin in return. But this we offer freely.
Of course, thank you. We'll look at your wares shortly, I'm sure.
Of course, yes, indeed. Well, I'm very blessed. We happen to be on a string of nights of full moons here on Lunaria, and thanks to the power of the moons and a certain little relic I carry, I can actually make things in the evening. I can make things overnight if there is something that I can make perhaps to aid you.
You are connected with the moon. You're empowered by it.
I'm one of the. Perhaps this is all a bit much, but the middle roamers, we call ourselves, centaurs of a certain disposition. We have different families, and in mine we carry an artifact. It's been passed down. It was passed down from my grandmother to me, and from her grandmother to her, and so forth and so forth. And it allows me. It's a hammer of fine craftsmanship. And it allows me to make things very quickly. That would take weeks for others, I can make in a matter of hours, but only when the moon is at its right height. I can't do it all the time.
Phenomenal.
a limited amount of things I can make, but fine boots that can make you walk as quiet as a pixie in a dew-covered forest.
I look at Sentry.
Bags that can carry more things than you can imagine. I can make things of wood, anything of wood or leather. I tend to be able to make. I'm no blacksmith, but I can carve wood and I can craft leather very well.
These all sound phenomenal. I think we could use them all. How much would you take for some sneaky boots?
Oh, boots of that nature, not much. 500 gold, I imagine I'd be able to part with it. But I could make them. I could make as many as you need. Such a simple thing. Cobbler like myself.
Sneaky boots.
And in the Fae, is there such thing as negotiation? A back and forth. Is that disrespectful?
I mean, I'm not trying to cheat you of any money, sir. I charge you what it costs to make the materials and a little bit extra for my years of experience, nothing more. I'm no city-dwelling merchant. Charge you probably 2 or 3 times the price. I charge what I can afford to make, so I don't tend to negotiate on my prices, unfortunately.
Right.
But perhaps, if there's a good reason, perhaps if you can convince me you're worth it, I could maybe treat you as one of the family.
Well, I'll let everyone else think about what they could potentially benefit from. I'm just going to have this bread roll.
Before we err too close on the side of business chat, when
600 gold, no less.
Well, let's get comfortable and get to know each other as new family members. I think we may, as well, spend a little bit extra just to make this meal a little bit nicer. Those treats and drinks and things you were talking about.
Of course, indeed. If you can spare us 10 gold, I'll bust out my finest stocks.
Okay, I thought it was more.
Well,
in that case, let me get my chest out real quick.
I mean, yeah, like, you guys can like easily just give this guy 10 gold, and yeah, he brings out. They start like cooking up food, and they start like bringing out sweets and things like that, laying them in bowls and things like that easily.
I think in the interest of time, Lucius would regale them with tales that we are not from here, if you didn't notice, and then where we're from, and the generic Aerois and the cradle and things like that. Not specifically our mission as to why we're here, but we are just visiting, we're traveling. That sort of thing.
Indeed. Oh yeah, they listen. Ulster's doesn't seem to focus too much on it, but all of the other centaurs, like, and you can, one thing you would all pick up on actually, everybody here calls, like, so all the kids, you hear them call multiple people mum and dad. You hear the adults call multiple people husband and wife, or like brother. Like this is a very big family. Like all the kids are kind of related and stuff like that. This is like one of those, like, they are a family unit together, even if that means not related by blood. Like, you know, all the adults are mothers and fathers to all the kids. Like, it's that kind of like they all integrate together and work together kind of thing. Big family unit. Okay. And yeah, they all listen. The kids love the stories, like especially Lucius, I can imagine, with a high charisma, kind of like really telling them in this kind of like, you know, embellished and sort of, you know, very eloquent way. They love that. They listen to it. They're quite happy to listen to those stories. Ulster's definitely listens, and you can see he's the type who's like listening for like more things than just what you're basically telling, and he's kind of watching you all as he does, but he plays the part of the gracious host, you know, always checking to make sure you have enough drink, always making sure that you're comfortable. How long do you guys want to stay here? Like, is this like you want to stay till evening, or are you just taking like a short rest, like an hour long thing, or do you want to take like a long rest here?
I mean, I feel like this would it's intentionally a short rest, but it sounds like it's extremely comfortable, and that we're in, Quill is enjoying it a little bit too much, that it could just last longer than that.
Yeah, unless Nova interjects with some stats.
We gotta move.
Yeah.
Sentry's got a level of exhaustion from the lance.
So a long rest is the only way you're going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I think Nova kind of whispering with Thalia in the back would kind of encourage actually that we do spend a long rest, because she'd say to Thalia that, like, you know, this is the first time you've been back here in how long? let's
A long
just
time.
enjoy it for a moment. Take this
Also-
moment to enjoy it.
You should ask them about Heartspire. The knights didn't seem to know that much, but maybe these folks will. We should try and
I
find
will.
out whatever
Don't worry.
information we can. Thank you. I don't want to raise too many suspicions about me. If I start mentioning Heartspire, maybe they'll start thinking, oh, that elf looks familiar. She's like definitely
You know
like
I'll
staying
be-
quiet.
You know I'll be careful. Of course I will be. But let's just take this moment to just look around and and reconnect, maybe.
Yes.
I
I'm
don't-
glad that we came across these people to begin with. I would have hated it if we'd encountered one of the noble houses or something like that. It would have been a very different experience. But this is the part of the Feywild I missed. Folks like this, places like this.
Can you see the stars from here? Do we get
Yeah.
stars? Are there stars?
Well, there are. The Twilight Nebula kind of casts even the night sky. It's not too dissimilar to your cradle, really. It doesn't cover it up entirely, but it gives everything a sort of haze. But it also makes some of the stars shine brighter sometimes. You'll see. You'll see. A place like this, though, and she gestures at the lake. This will be a nice place to spend the evening.
Yeah, maybe you can teach me some new constellations.
We don't really have them. We don't name the stars here. The stars, before Valkyrian arrived, the stars to the Fey folk were not places to visit or things out in astral space. They were beings. They were gods or heroes who ascended to become stars and things like that. We don't really have constellations, but I can definitely tell you a few stories.
I'd like that.
Sure. Just kind of like sits with you and sort of like presses up against you. Big Cat has found a big cushion and is like dragging it over towards Thalia. Like he's got it in his mouth and he's like dragging it. And then he flops down on it to sleep. What about everyone else?
And then a rift formed. It was drawing infinite evil, and we were transported through astral space to a whole different place.
What?
And I'm creating like spells and things to like illuminate or create fire or acid, and then
the C3PO
Birdie
thing.
died.
It was a little bit prior to that, but sure. Most
I
of
think
the
Lucius's story is all over the place in terms of
I
like
think-
chronological order.
Also, Rosemeadow doesn't know that Quill died, and so like she is engrossed. She's like with the kids, like on the like sat looking at Lucius, and she's like, ah, like she's like completely shocked and surprised by all of this stuff going on as well. So she's like fully in there with the kids, basically, like completely bedazzled by the storytelling.
You know, Sentry did too. I had to carry her about for a little bit.
No.
Heavy when you carry over a long distance. I will say, Sentry, I love you, but lot of metal there, lot of wood and metal. It's a lot to take care of. But she's back, and now she's even bigger.
bang
So
up
you know,
dog.
don't do that again, because new Sentry, Sentinel Prime, big challenge.
I'll try not to.
I think I gained some good muscle, though.
Good plan. Good plan.
Yeah.
Well,
Good plan.
I guess that's the end of the story. Lucius sits down.
It's kind of the end of the story. There was a few missing details, I will admit, and a lot of it was all over the place, but it was all the right events, just not necessarily in the right order. But
It sounds like it sounds like you people have done quite a lot.
we have. We've been around the place, but it's our first time in Lunaria. So I think it's best if we learn more about you. I mean, have you had much dealings with Penelope of Panapoli before?
I must say, we've never encountered. We saw you pass when you were going into the wood, but I've not had much dealings with the Free Knights, I must say. But we've certainly heard of various groups. And the Lady Penelope just sort of like nods her head, and her group are just kind of keeping to themselves for now, sort of like eating and resting and things like that. They did pay a small amount of gold to the Centaurs as well, and you can see that one of the tents is being sort of like, things are being taken out of it to make it available to them to rest in. But she just kind of raises a glass of wine to Ulstus the Centaur, and just says, and your most gracious hospitality is most welcome. My good sir. And she just kind of tips her glass, and he just nods back. Yes, we've had various visitors. It has been quieter of late. Something is going on with the noble houses. Some war somewhere that the emperor has requested troops for, or some such. But we're not soldiers. We don't apply to that. So. I must say, the Middle Romans don't have much love for the Empire, as it is.
Hear. We're in agreement there. They also
very good to know.
attempting to take our homeland as well, from where we're from.
I'm sorry to hear that. The Lunaria, thankfully, it was a peaceful transition. The Valkyrians... Well, the Twilight Nebula means that they cannot bring all their full force to bear here, but they still could have invaded if they wanted to. They certainly have the might and the numbers to do it. But the Fey Lords, for the once in their many long-lived lives, they worked together and they made an accord. And we thankfully have been left alone. You know, the Lunaria is still a peaceful and quiet land, quiet world.
That's good to hear. Unfortunately, there was some diplomatic talks, but there's a divide, and now I believe war is brewing where we're from.
Difficult. I never would have expected the Fey Lords to unite on it, but something brought them together for certain. But unusual, to say the least. But still, let's not trouble ourselves with such depressing talk. Why did you come to Lunaria? What brings you here?
Well, I looked to Nova.
It's no easy thing. Is it to help your friend? And he gestures at Rosemeadow.
Twofold, really. First, Rosemeadow doesn't remember, has no recollection of the Feywild. None whatsoever.
None at all, you say?
Not Rosemeadow?
Yes, sorry. We were just playing a game, and you can see that she's like playing a game with the kids, basically. And she's just like, yes, sorry, did you have a question, Nova?
Tell me everything you know about your childhood.
Well, I was found by the mayor of a place called Kayla's Rest, and they found me in a beautiful field of roses out in the woods, and that's why they call me Rosemeadow, and that's about it. And then I grew up, and I learned how to make little alchemical things, and I sell, hair tonics and crystals. I decided that my birthstone is an amethyst. She goes into Rosemeadow speak for a bit. Yeah. And you can see that Ulstus is like watching her and like listening surprisingly intently. And he just says, "Oh, interesting."
You seem certain that she is a meadower, as you.
Well, given her, perhaps it's her appearance, first of all. There are many centaurs here in Lunaria. If you're not from the Meadow Roamers, which is our group, I suppose, you tend to look a bit scarier. Plus, there's her nature. I mean, look at her. And he just gestures, and she's like clapping and happy and stuff like that. She's just like, the centaurs of my family and the families were the branch families that we're all connected to. We were created by a tree spirit that had a great love of life and nature and people. And that's instilled in all of us. It's instilled throughout all of us. We have a great love of things, people, living things. Tends to make us very likable and amenable. And I can tell. He just gestures at Rosemeadow. She's definitely one of us. And I think... Well, perhaps when she gets a bit of sleep, I can tell you a bit more.
Right. Very well.
I'd rather tell you without her here. It's a bit of a sad story.
Oh.
Understood. Oh, well, Rosemeadow, you must be absolutely shattered from all that travel. You know, we're adventurers, so it's...
I didn't want to say anything, but I am getting quite sleepy. We walked for so long, and all this delicious food, and it's just really nice, and the fire's nice and warm, and yeah, I'm getting pretty sleepy.
Well, I'm sure our gracious hosts here can find you somewhere to rest.
Indeed. Elowen, come and let's take our friend here and let's find her a nice place to sleep, maybe in one of the tents and things like that. And they're like, oh yes, indeed, Ulster. And they gather a bunch of people, and like some of the knights also retire. The injured ones are all going to start heading off to bed early, but Penelope and Radovan and Dago will stay up. And people start filtering off. The kids get taken to bed. Rosemeadow, probably Kyrie would go with her as well. Like Kyrie's just like, I'm kind of sleepy. I don't tend to walk that much. And then she'll like go with Rosemeadow and stuff as well. But leaving pretty much all of you guys and Ulster's up. He's the only one who stays up. And he kind of goes into that, like, you know, a barman, like a landlord, like at lock-in, starts like getting like the good booze out and like starts laying glasses down for everybody and pours like a little shot. And, you know, it's got that kind of like lock-in vibe where it's basically like you guys, Lady Penelope, Radovan, and Ulster's just sat around a big fire, and like the night begins to fall in. This is like late night camping, like the stars are overhead. Nice. Although, like Thalia said, there is this kind of purple haze that covers the night sky. Even though it's nighttime and it's dark, there is this kind of gentle purple haze that blocks out some of the stars. There are 2 moons at least that kind of shine down. But it's all reflected off the lake and off these like floating rock waterfalls. It's very picturesque and beautiful. And Ulster kind of says, well, I suppose, yes, when you first arrived, and I thought you were just travelers, but when you mentioned her name, Rosemeadow, seeing who she was, I think, well, I'm somewhat amazed, really. It's an old story, kind of passed down. It was told to me when I was a boy. It's a bit of a sad, tragic tale, really. But I think I know who she is, and I think I know why she doesn't remember anything.
Please, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Well, I told you that we don't have much love of the Empire in the Middle Romers. You know the Empire, you said you've had run-ins. Do you know their commander, Xarkira?
Yes.
Yes, she seems almost too close at all times.
She's done many great things for the Empire, many magical advances and technologies that have improved the lives of people in various worlds. But the Feywild has seen the darker side of Xarkira, perhaps one that even the Emperor doesn't know. She came to Lunaria maybe a century or 2 ago. She was seeking out creatures with unusual or powerful magical abilities, innate, unusual, something outside of what is expected of Fey creatures. They went missing. She would find them, introduce them, talk to them, and then within a few days they vanished. Never came back. All sorts of creatures. Pixies, centaurs, satyrs, many things. There's a branch family of ours. They're called the Rosemeadow family. They welcomed a new child into their group a long time ago. This child was special. Their mother was a unicorn. Not a centaur or anything like that. They were an actual unicorn who could take centaur form. And so they were blessed with very rare magic. Half centaur, half unicorn. Very powerful druidic magic. It was apparent even in a babe, even in a young child. It was clear that her powers would grow and become quite formidable. And they feared for her. When they heard of Xarkira seeking these magical creatures, they were afraid. And so... and then Xarkira came for them. Xarkira came to the Rosemeadow family. It was all smiles and offers and diplomacy, but I think we all knew what was really going on. And when they refused, Xarkira attacked. She killed many of them. But the child's mother, Alantea, a unicorn. She gave her life to hold off Xarkira, to fight her, buy the Rosemeadows as much time as they could to escape, to flee. And in their desperation, they made for an old dark wood, a place that many Fae folk don't go anymore. And inside they sought out a powerful sorceress, a spider witch called Dawnweaver. They made a deal. Dawnweaver agreed to hide the girl. She said that, what did she say? There's an old legend. I can't even remember it exactly. Maybe if you find them or if you can speak to somebody, they may know better. But it's something like, I will take this girl to a world that Xarkira cannot reach until something brings her home. Something like that. I can't even remember. But there was some sort of prophecy anyway, that she would take the girl to a world that Xarkira couldn't reach until somebody brought her back. But Dawnweaver knew that this would enrage Xarkira. Xarkira is not the type to be denied anything, and she knew that here in the Feywild, that rage could become a threat. And so she forbid the Rosemeadows from ever leaving her glade, Dawn's Hollow, her home in the heart of this dark wood. They could never leave it, because she knew that Xarkira's rage, her anger, her desperation would constantly hunt them wherever they go. And so they've been trapped there ever since, unable to leave. And we cannot go in either. Anybody who enters the forest called Black Stallion Woods, anybody who enters is killed by these roaming spirits. 2 riders travel, seemingly unaging, immortal.
Okay, that was quite the tale, and needless to say, I do wish to find out more about this prophecy because, well, she's back, and it seems like we were the ones to bring her here, so the prophecy definitely pertains to us, but also I feel guilty, like we've made a mistake here. Rosemeadow was blissful and content in the life that she had, and we've almost forced her into a position where she is to discover this harrowing tale.
Perhaps, but she still has family. Maybe her unicorn mother gave her life, but the Rosemeadows will be her family. They are descendants or close relations. They will be her people. But one thing is curious. She doesn't seem to have any traits that I would expect. Has she ever shown any magic? Has she used any magic or abilities or the like?
I feel like she
makes potions. She's pretty good at that.
I think by your reactions, she would be quite powerful for her age that she is now. The unicorn blood, if she was indeed this lost child, she should have far more power than she's shown. That's the bit that I'm confused by. So perhaps I could be wrong. Perhaps it could be just a coincidence. Perhaps she's just, I don't know, some other girl that stumbled into a portal or a trick or some cruel spirit or something. I don't know. But
it would also be not necessarily cruel, but disheartening to take her to such a potentially dangerous place only for her to discover it's not really who they were expecting. To build her hopes up like that to find family.
Well, that's not for me to decide. That's just for you. I'm simply telling you a tale that I've been told.
We appreciate that.
If you wanted to learn more, I'm afraid that, well, the legend of the Rosemeadows has passed through. It's a story that we tell. It's a story that we tell around the fire. The only people that would have more information are the Rosemeadows themselves. Or this Dawnweaver, the spider witch who apparently aided them. They would probably be quite powerful. There are many powerful archfey and spirits that roam these lands. Dawnweaver would know more. But it's not for me to decide. But the story says that she would be brought back by someone, some prophecy. You brought her here. And from the sounds of what your knight friend said and the stories you've told, I can't think of anybody else who could defeat these spirits that wander the woods. I can't think of anybody else that could actually help her get there.
Well, I'm wary of our full grasp of Lunaria and the way things operate here. These spirits, manifestations, whatever they are. I mean, they could be far stronger than anything we've faced before.
Could be.
But surely reuniting a family that has been torn apart by Xarkira and Starbane is worth more than any risk. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing about her, about them touching everything and turning it into sadness, misery.
Xarkira is a giant bitch. So if doing this would piss her off, then I'm all for it. I'll defeat a spirit. I don't care. Apologies, sorry, I'm very blunt. They probably should have warned you about that.
The fools have gone to bed. Don't you worry about that. We're all adults here, and we're having a nice drink and a nice story. I don't mind. A bit of foul language doesn't bother me.
Yeah, piss.
Lucius.
Well done, Lucius.
It's not becoming of you, Lucius.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're right. You're both right. We owe it to find the truth, even for that family.
If nothing else, you'd be freeing. If you could destroy these spirits or find a way to unbind them or defeat them, if the Rosemeadows really are trapped. And again, I must stress, this is a story that I've been told. I don't know how much is true about it. But if they are there, I mean, freeing the family.
It's just the coincidence that she was found in a bed of roses and she was called Rosemeadow. If that's
the family
not
themselves. We have here in Lunaria, I don't know how things are in your world, but things like stories and prophecies and coincidence are powerful things. Destiny is a thread, and it weaves through far more than we realize. Connects even the simplest things, the simplest of folk, to the greatest of stories. The humble farmer who goes on to destroy an evil lord, to the young prince who's abandoned and returns home to claim his birthright. All of these things, coincidence is always part of them. They just happen to meet the right people at the right time. They happen to be in the right place, or even the wrong place at the right time. I think if you're here and you brought her, I have a good feeling. But I'm not the one who has to go into a dark, scary wood and fight off a couple of evil ghosts. So,
Not only that, I think it's not even our decision to make, it's Rosemedow's. And I believe we should inform her in the best way we can.
Well, that's why I wanted to tell all of you, because I don't know her. I don't know how she'd react, but you all seem to be pretty sound of mind, and you'd know what's best for your friend. So I've passed it to you. Now it's up to whatever you want to do.
Thank you. And what do we owe you for that?
Nothing. Story's a story. You shared yours, I've shared mine. Think of it that way.
Maybe a trinket from our home
perhaps
world.
If you'd like to buy something.
Oh, we could buy something. And by trinket, I mean gold from our home world.
I'll take that. Gold's gold. Gold on any world is always.
Is it 700 you said for those sneaky boots?
500 if you want the boots, the well-made boots. There's other things I have out of interest. I have put them in the chatter vmix. I've put a big old list of shit.
Oh, cool.
A lot of them you'll probably be like, what does this do? He probably would be able to bring out some little trinket items. So he brings out like a little staff that he can play bird sounds. Like he like blow into a section of it and it makes bird calls. He brings out a cloak that always looks like it's billowing in the wind. It always looks like there's a dramatic wind behind you.
Lucius's eyes widen at that and then glances at Nova and back at the cape and back at Nova.
He's got like a very well-made
billowing cape.
There's lots of
I
stuff.
don't have the money anymore.
Please, Bertie, can we have...
Yeah.
Just for the blowy cape effect?
It's a blowy cape. It constantly blows.
How much is the constantly blowing cape?
50 gold. It's really a minor enchantment. It's not nothing special.
50 gold.
Don't sell yourself short. This is a phenomenal piece of fashion.
Glad you like it. That one's actually the capes were made by my third wife. She's the seamstress. She's the seamstress in the family.
Third wife.
Mm-hmm.
Things are very mysterious here to me. In Gusthaven, we have a single partner, and that's it. Tied for centuries.
Done? How do you? God, what? That sounds very lonely.
Well, we have lots of families that meet and converse. Lots of conversing, actually. No, it is quite dull. You're right.
Sounds exhausting.
Anyway,
still, if there's anything else I can help you with, I feel like you've come to Lunaria for a good cause. And if there's any information I can provide, if there's any other way that I can help.
Oh, look, Nova. A periapt of wound closure. That'd be good for your legs.
Thank you, Lucius. That would be rather nice. I got impaled by a manticore twice.
It could happen again.
Oh wow! How frequent?
That's the problem with only having 2 legs, my girl. You need 4.
Do you have anything that adds legs?
I don't actually. No, I don't. I don't have anything for making more legs. I can make you a fine pair of horseshoes, though.
Oh, just hands and feet here.
I might.
Are you going to get horse feet, Sentry? Is that what you're thinking? Hoof your feet.
I'm trying to think of. Do peritons have hooves?
I don't know.
They have claws.
On D&D Beyond.
Peritons.
They have clawed feet.
They have clawed feet. Yes.
They have front hooves. Actually, they might.
But I mean, you can choose the form that Fine Steed appears in if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That is true.
All of the
I might take those
now they do.
Well, these horseshoes are they're magical, not just normal horseshoes.
What do they do?
Well, I will tell you what they do. They are, I guess a common name for them would be horseshoes of speed. They actually increase a horse, they make a creature faster that bears them.
Sorry, the picture of a periton. It's got such a derpy smile.
It's got it's got a funny little face.
It's about as good as mine with my fangs in.
Not true.
Perhaps have a think on any items you might want to buy for the morning, perhaps. But did you have any other questions about Lunaria, about the Feywild?
Hello, me. Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about a place called Heartspire?
Oh, kind of expression goes a bit dark. I do. I mean, I don't know much. We haven't had news out of Heartspire for centuries. We pick up being traveling folk and having people stop by. We do hear a lot of things, rumors, that sort of thing. I think Heartspire, a few hundred years ago now, a while ago, maybe 5, 6, maybe longer, the Archfey who ruled Heartspire vanished, and a new one took her place. I don't know who. I don't know if that's ever been recorded anywhere, but shortly after, a wall of briars sprang up around the city-state. It's Heartspire is like a large city and then a few outlying grounds, but nothing more than that. It's in the middle of a great wood, like most places in the Feywild. And the Briar Wall came up, and people suddenly found that they could not easily come and go. Nobody came out, that's for certain. And when some of the nobles, the other regional nobles, wanted to find out what was happening, they sent scouts in, flying scouts, winged elves, airy. They crashed. As soon as they flew over the wall, they dropped out of the sky and landed behind the city walls. Never came back. Apparently, the Archfey have spoken to each other, and they've just simply agreed to leave Heartspire as it is. It's not considered part of the council. It's not considered really involved in anything of Lunaria's affairs. It's just sort of left to self-sustain, I guess, to be itself. But you hear rumors. The sky has gotten darker. Over the hundreds and hundreds of years, from my grandmother's time to my time, the sky has gotten darker over Heartspire. People say that they can see things at the top of the Briar Wall, looking out.
What sort of things? Nice things?
Faces?
Probably not nice things.
Mixture. Sometimes they might see a pretty elven woman's face flying on wings, and then it disappears. Sometimes they say it's like a living shadow with eyes like fire. Other times it appears to be a great serpent. All sorts of things, really. People think that it's cursed. People think that the whole place is under some malady, some curse.
Out of curiosity, I don't suppose you've ever heard of a person called Mesmera?
Rings a bell, aye. Rings a bell. There was a sorceress called Mesmera once. Used to be friends of Alicorn's and very potent. People would go to her with desires. People that had wishes. Travelers from other worlds or people here on the Feywild. People that wanted to see things happen. They would go and speak to this good sorceress. I believe they called her the Sorceress in White. And they would go and seek her, but she vanished. She vanished about the same time the new Archfey took charge of Heartspire. I imagine that either the new Archfey killed her, or has her trapped or locked up somewhere. Nova, you feel like Thalia's like tighten your like holding your hand. But I mean, Ulstus is saying it genuinely. You don't think that he's lying. He just seems to be what he genuinely believes.
His interpretation.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you know. Speaking of families and Rosemeadow's family, do you know anything of the Whisperwind family?
Whisperwind. He thinks, and takes a moment. Something tickles the back of my brain. Older than even grandmother's stories. I think she was told stories when she was a girl, maybe. Similar to Mesmera. There was a family called Whisperwind. I think they may have been people in Heartspire, perhaps the ruling family. I can't say I've heard anything about them ever since. Some things happen. Families, especially noble families and those who are empowered as Archfey, rivals can make them disappear. They fall foul of curses, travelers, all sorts of things can happen. Quite a few have fallen in with less savory sorts of other worlds. Demons and devils have a particular interest in Lunaria. It's rich in magic. They feed off of it.
I can imagine, yeah. Well,
I can point you in the direction of Heartspire. I know the way. I can point you in the direction. Whether you can find a way through that infernal briar wall, well, I mean, you look like a resourceful bunch. I'm sure that you'll find a way through, but I can't say what to expect when you enter.
Yeah, Lunaria seems to have a knack for the inaccessible, whether it's haunted dark woods patrolled by evil horsemen or briar-contained cities.
The nature of it. It's the nature of a place that is all about magic and freedom. It's very easy for those things to not want to be found.
I suppose it's not so easy to just joint wish for an entrance to appear.
You could try. People of sufficient will. The problem there is those wishing for an entrance, those trying to manifest it, would need to have a stronger will than the Archfey who rules Heartspire. Only the Archfey who rules Heartspire could have erected that briar wall, and I imagine they've done so with good reason. but I'm not saying it's impossible.
Okay.
Tricky situation. Think we're definitely going to have to be careful. I don't like the sound of cursed briar walls.
I don't like the sound of smiling serpents or, things peeking out at us while we try and imagine a door.
Just fiery-eyed shadows, all the good things that you want to hear when you ask about a place.
I mean,
probably seen it there.
Again, I don't know if this will be effective. I can imagine that knights in the past may have tried. You've got plenty of steel. You've got axes and swords, and I'm sure many other tricks. You could always try those. I mean, the briar wall, as far as we can tell, it's just thick and tall. I don't know if it's I don't know if it can be destroyed, but it could be worth a shot, perhaps. Perhaps Lady Penelope would know more of that. And Lady Penelope is like, I have been listening. The Free Knights have never tried to go into Artspire. Like I mentioned to you before, we avoid it. As far as we're concerned, it is no longer part of Lunaria and the Feywild. But I do remember there was a group of knights, a group of warriors from one of the cities. The Archfey of that place, he believed that he was owed something by Artspire. When it closed its borders off, he sent a unit of knights. He sent a squadron of knights to go and get it, whatever it was, to break down the Briar Wall and step in. If I seem to remember, they managed to find a way. I believe fire. I believe that they had a flaming sword. And the flaming sword, they cut the briar, and it worked, but it grew back quickly. So they had this noble knight with a flaming sword lead the way. He cut a path through the briar wall, but it sealed up behind them. They were never seen again. So perhaps fire may work.
One of the few elements that we are well versed in, fire. But we might be able to make something work.
I've got my lance.
I'm sure you can.
Flame lance.
I have my grenades.
I have a really big hammer and a lot of anger.
I would recommend if you want to chop down briars, you will want an axe or a sword. I don't believe your hammer will do much against thorny plants.
Boo. Not fun. Nah, I'll give it a couple hits for good measure.
It'll find a way of working, I'm sure.
If you're angry enough, the hammer always works. In my brain, that's what I
sharper the angrier you get.
Yeah.
I feel like I've told you all I can. All that remains is for you to get a good night's rest, if that's what you intend. We've had one of the tents set up for you.
Thank you.
Again, we must thank you for your gracious hospitality and the information you've so willingly provided for us all.
Hey, it's no problem. It's not a problem at all. It's like I said, you shared stories with us. We shared stories with you, and it sounds like you've come with a purpose. And also, you come if your friend is indeed a member of the Rosemeadow branch family. I'm obligated to help you. We help each other. That's what we do. Meadows care for one another. So, and if you do meet them. If you do find the Rosemeadows, tell them that if they need any help, the Fairmeadow family is waiting for them. So,
of course. Right then, some kippy kip.
Yes, kip.
Is that the new one? Sleepy sleep was bad enough. We don't need kippy kip. Lucius.
Such a beautiful sky as well. I could get used to this.
Thalia just, for the first time kind of speaking to the group, she's like, it is a very welcome sight to see this night sky again.
My girl.
And with that, I think that sounds like that's going to be the end of the episode. So
yeah, I think we need to talk to Rosemeadow. That'll be fun.
Hey.
Shattering the dreams of an innocent.
So your mum's dead.
Yeah.
Most of your fam's dead.
Let's let Nova do the talking then.
Oh, why me?
Don't let Aila anywhere near the situation.
Very quickly.
Mum's dead.
no.
Ghosts are haunting the place where the rest of your family is.
Yeah.
So the good news is you've got family. The bad news is that
They're trapped in a haunted
And-
wood.
but not your mum though. Not your mum because she died. It'd be terrible.
This forest can fit so many
Let her
horses
near
in
it.
it.
Also, I spent 50 gold. Lucius can have the goddamn cloak.
Okay. You can add a billowing cloak to your inventory, Lucius.
Yes.
There you go.
Does this take over any armor pieces, or can I have it as an accessory?
It is entirely an accessory, and it does not require attunement. You'll be glad to know as well.
It billows on its own. Incredible.
I wouldn't put it past him to take out something actually useful to put the billowy.
Oh, this
cape
legendary
in.
armor. Unattune cloak.
I'll get rid of this Stormcaller
It
chain.
billows.
Yeah. Nice.
think that
Well,
was it.
chain.
Huh?
finished.
What's
That's
Stormcaller chain.
You got it from Zephyr.
You know the thing that I
There
can
was
pull
like a
down,
big
like
argument
level
about
8,
you can wear it.
call
Yeah.
lightning, and then walking on clouds and
Walk on
shit.
clouds,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll remove
It's like
that.
+2 armor as well. It's like really
I
good
just drop
armor.
that on the floor and then put this billowing cloak.
Sell it to a vendor. Here, give me 100 gold.
You want this for
Easy.
it? Can
Cool.
I do that?
Well, pretty good. Had finished off a fight. Got some lore. Got some drops. Kind of got a couple of different
deep
things you
lore.
can try now. I guess the main thing for me as GM, have a look through those items if there's any ones you want to buy off Ulsters. But also, I know you want to talk to Rosemeadow, but decide, are you guys going to go to this Black Stallion Wood and try and help Rosemeadow? Or are you like, let's go and help Thalia first? Like, that's what I need to know so that I can prep.
Yeah, I think it's the time.
Talia's on a time limit. Rosemedow's not aware currently.
Yeah, but she's got unicorn blood and she needs to discover her innate fire abilities so she can burn down the briar.
I see. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's got to be.
Unicorns might have powers that could help in Heartspire. You don't know.
I think, yeah, that's the kind of.
It's a trade-off. Time, danger, for. Yeah, we don't know.
We'll have to see how fast that
We have no
tattoo
idea.
progresses. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, have a look in the morning.
Hey, we don't know if anyone's going to be on Yogs after this. Let me quickly check chat. Hey, Nightjar, is Parsec Pals on after this? I can't read chat. There's chat's not there.
I wondered how you were going to do that. I was like, if you were going to be like, that's great. You should go and check whoever's on now.
You should check out next.
There you go.
Pals.
Well, according to the schedule, they are.
Cool.
So,
There you go.
Nice.
Amazing. Perfect. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this, our special Halloween episode of High Rollers.
indeed.
Oh,
God, yeah.
By the pins. By the pins. I'm available.
By the pins.
Thalia.
By the pins.
I'm turning.
By the pins.
Pins.
Cool
Yes,
stuff in the
by the
works.
No, that's going to not. That's
Cool stuff happening. Stay tuned, November. It's going to be cool.
Yes.
There's
on the
some
Patreon.
very
some
cool stuff
stuff.
happening.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Like my birthday.
Also-
You should.
be, that's exactly
That was
it.
the main thing. But if you did subscribe and donate during this stream, then we will thank you in the next episode. Sorry about that.
Yes. Also, we'll be in chat, and we'll thank you in chat as well. Like, I'm going to be sitting in chat. I want to see everyone's
Hey,
reactions.
if you're running
So-
Yogs, cut us off at any point. It's totally fine.
Fine, just
running
cut us off whenever. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Happy Halloween. We hope you had a good time. Show us your costumes. If you did any High Rollers costumes, do make sure you tweet them and send them to us because I always love seeing that stuff as well. And yeah, happy Halloween. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Happy Halloween!